Hello, one and all, and welcome back to the 5-Digit World Cup. Here we are with our penultimate matchup, the grand finale, United States versus Australia, the returning veterans versus the Cinderella story. First time on the podium for this Australian team, mirroring their brethren on topside at the OSU World Cup. And now United States, first time this decade in trying to get their victory for the 5-Digit World Cup. Joining me on commentary is going to be iFlame. How are you feeling about the matchup?
I'm feeling great. Obviously, Australia had their chance at the United States in the winners bracket finals, but fell short in the tiebreaker. Now in the grand finals, looking to take their revenge. But let's take a look at these rosters. It's going to be an interesting one. Both teams certainly have their strengths. I think if you're Australia, you're looking towards speed, you're looking towards tapping, and you're looking towards the reading picks as well. Some of those more gimmicky maps like, Nomad 6-7, as well as the reading, low AR, and speed picks. It's kind of an interesting skill set that you usually don't see together, but Australia certainly excels at both. Poyuto has been their star player so far this tournament, has looked incredibly good, but you've got Fault, who's looked dominant on the speed picks. They've got 47 or Steve, who can play the easy incredibly well, and that's been an asset for Australia on the free mod, something to keep in mind. Meanwhile, Hala, talk to me about this United States roster. Obviously, Hotbread, their key player so far.
Yeah, it's going to be Hotbread mainly on pretty much everything. He will fill in the hard rocks, he will fill in the hiddens, he does what is needed to be done. You will also have... Sorry, I didn't have the rosters on hand immediately, but they have a fantastic Hard Rock Specialist roster. Of course, with that Hard Rock 3 ban, you're looking at them to play into those cards. And on the free mods, mainly going to be looking at Noob for the hidden. So going to be interesting to see what they pull out there in contrast. And of course with these protects, with the Hard Rock 3 protect, very strong for the United States with that specialist roster. Australia last time banning out Hard Rock 1 and 2. And with Australia, it's that reading, it's that Nomad 6. The very overlappy, very rhythm-changing Nomad 6.
Yeah, and I think here we're likely to see either the DT2 or 3 banned out. Both of those have been played by Australia. Keep in mind, the United States do have a fair bit of information since they've seen 11 maps played in Australia, put up a double FC on the DT3, got a 3.5 million team score, and that's going to be a tough one to beat for any team, especially when you're not really the speed team. So I would be shocked if we don't see the DT3 banned. The DT2 likely to go as well. Australia put up a very respectable 3.2 million on that one. And so Australia are currently just unmatched on these tapping picks, at least in the grand finals. I'd be shocked if we don't see both of those banned out, but maybe the US want to ban one of the reading maps instead. It's the other possibility they have.
Yeah, if not one of the reading maps, definitely not one of the 3 mods I could also see, just because Australia is so comfortable with that mod range that they have. Looking at them to go for one of those, if not Nomad 5, but DT2 instead, taking out the other speed pick. We had a little bit of an inside guy tell us that it wouldn't be Nomad 5, so DT2 is the speed ban of choice for the United States early.
Yeah, and we've seen Australia in their previous match ban out. I believe it was the, let's see, Free Mod 2 and the Hard Rock 1. Now, I think the Hard Rock 1 ban is almost certainly going to remain, but for their second ban, curious if they're going to stick with Free Mod 2, or if they feel the need to ban out another one of those Hard Rocks. Hard Rock has been a big point of advantage for the United States over Australia, and the Hard Rocks have been the biggest area that Australia has struggled in. Meanwhile, I think the United States are likely looking towards some of the aim-focused picks to get their points. They're incredibly good on all of the ones, including the DT1. The DT4 as well has been a point of strength for them. And so I think for Australia, you are going to look towards either that Hard Rock 2 or that Free Mod 2 as your second ban, as we're currently just waiting on that second ban for the United States. Once again, highly expecting that to be a DT3 ban.
For sure, and the non-reading gimmick is so shaky in these matchups. Australia took the non-Hard Rock 2 Precision last week, and the United States, as you mentioned, took that DT4, but it was an incredibly shaky road there. The scoreline was going back and forth all the way up into a chain miss at the end on the Australia side that secured the point for the United States. So with those gimmick picks towards the tail end, it's going to be a matter of consistency. It's going to be that practice. Of course, this isn't Australia's first rodeo, having played that losers bracket matchup, which isn't good for info sharing. Of course, the United States knowing how they are likely to perform, but that experience is going to play dividends, I would imagine.
Yeah, the DT4 this week, slider am as well, which I feel is pretty good for the United States over Australia. And don't forget, this is only our first match. If Australia wins this one, we're going to go to a bracket reset immediately after this at 4:30 UTC. So Australia have got a tough road ahead of them. Of course, the United States would love to close this one out in the first match, but if not, they've got a second chance at it. And they are going to be banning out the No Mod 5. How about maybe we may have gotten some fake info here.
Whoa, we've been I wouldn't say lied to. Things happen on the spot. No Mod 5. One moment you're feeling it, one moment you're not. Not going to be the play this time. And Australia, once again, double Hard Rock ban is confirmed. The Hard Rock 2 Precision is out of the way now.
Yep, Hard Rock 2, unsurprisingly, but keep in mind the maps this does leave open. We now have DT3 as a very obvious pick for Australia, and we do have the Free Mod 2 as a potential pick for the United States. Australia are going to go straight for their Protect. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of opting into your Protect right away, but it's not going to be the end of the world. I do feel like you can use it later on in the match to stop your opponent's momentum if you need to get a point back, or if you find yourself with a breakpoint, you can use it to keep building your own momentum. And so, while it does feel unnecessary, it is going to feel pretty good for Australia to hopefully get themselves a point on the board.
Yeah, this would be a must ban if not for the Protect from Australia. If it's not reading, or if it's not speed, it's going to be the reading, and this one is very in your face about it. There's these overlap doubles, kind of swing rhythms. It transitions from space triples. Like, the spacing in this map is not contingent of the rhythm like it usually is in other reading maps, and that makes it incredibly tricky. So gonna be scouting out the practice on each side for this map.
Certainly a map that does need a lot of practice. Overlaps, very tricky. As you mentioned, quite a few perfect stacks as well that can catch some players out. And last we saw this played, it was Hoyuto who put up a 600k for Australia. Ended up getting a third of the score for this team, and I'm not really sure who matches that score on United States. Obviously, Hopbread has kind of been the go-to star player for the United States, but not really so much the case on these reading focus picks, and so the United States have a mountain ahead of them on this No Mod 6, but let's see what they can do.
Yep, this is identical rosters to what they played with last time. Leth and Chichobi, also mainstay hidden players for the United States team, filling in reading overall. First miss going to be coming out of fault, but not going to matter too much with how volatile this map has been.
Yeah, kind of standard rating rosters for both teams. This is a map you do tend to see a lot of misses on. Team scores around 1.5 to 2 million is going to be the expectation here. And of course, keep in mind Australia's scores from yesterday are far from set in stone. They could find improvements today. They could have worse scores as well, but both teams looking pretty comfortable into the opening. This is a pretty long map at 2 minutes 52, so there are plenty of points to break, and it's really a bit of a consistency test on this rating, but we do have a little bit of a spike coming up. Hopbread finds the first big miss for the United States, and that's going to give the edge over to Australia, as they have found 4 big combos. Fault on a nice recovery after that very early miss, and it's a question now of how long can they hold on to this advantage? How long can they push this score lead?
Yeah, at this point, it's the more recent combo breaks coming out of the United States. Fault, the only one breaking earlier, and it was 30 combo into the map, now pulling away with a 100k lead with this 4-way FC still holding up. Steve, 47-47, first one to miss on the Australia side in a meaningful way. Chichobi, second to last. Fault again falling, but it's traded by Asa 3, and the only FC left remaining is Leth versus Super Nai and Puyudo on the Australia side.
Yeah, now we are coming up to the second half of this map, and while the second half isn't as difficult in the reading element, it is quite a bit more bursty. The patterns get a lot trickier, and so we could see some more misses. Fault had previously missed, so that one's not going to be end of the world. And it's still about 200,000 points in favor of Australia. That's a big miss from Vleth now. It is only Hotbread on recovery, trying to fend off Poyuto and Super Nai, but United States are going to make a big comeback into the end. Keep an eye on those big combos. The rest of the players don't really matter in terms of score at this point. There is still time for the United States to come back, but the misses need to come in the next 5 to 10 seconds. The support quickly vanishing from the side of the US, and with Hotbread missing, that's going to be Australia securing their protected pick.
Yeah, and the comfort now showing for these players. Puyudo well overachieving on their 600k from last time. Super Nai as well had a 380k in their previous matchup and is still holding on to the FC to this point with this sliver of map remaining with similar accuracy. Unfortunately, I've cursed him with that, but putting in the work as the Australia team with that confirmed first point on the board, going to be a great boost to their mental, as this lead is staggering. A 2.5 million team score on a map like this is no slouch.
Yeah, I mean, they've improved their score from yesterday by about 800,000 points. So Australia clearly feeling themselves today. They're ready to go. They're here to find themselves, I mean, their first ever 5WC victory. This is a team that has never before placed in the podium, and now they've got a chance to secure first place. But we've got a lot of matches left to be played. Of course, the United States have their own protected pick. I personally would like to see United States save that for later on. Maybe opt into one of those aim picks instead. Things like the DT1, DT4 should look quite good for the US, but let's see what they opt for here. I do think this early on, both teams have a lot of options, and they both have very differing skill sets, and so it tends to mean we don't really expect to see many breakpoints early on until we get maybe to the halfway point of the match. Then we might start to see some breakpoints.
For sure, and alongside those options, as you mentioned previously, the ones a lot more in favor of them this week than it was last week. Very standard BPMs comparatively. The breakpoint last week that caused the tiebreaker was the hidden one, but it very spaced, very wide angle jumps this time around, as opposed to the higher BPM stuff that Australia is more comfortable on. Something like that would be strong, if not just a flat out no mod one. Free mod one this week, a lot more dense than in previous weeks. That's where the high BPM is lying, and that's an AR9 pick, so that's something I would imagine Australia picks into in their next pick, if not but yeah, just awaiting them. HR3, yeah, they're going for the protect early as well. Very interesting start to this matchup.
Yeah, fair enough. Not generally what I'd opt for, but especially when you have both teams picking their protects at the very start, it is kind of going to be a wash anyways. And so likely to see United States take this one. Australia have panned out the Hard Rocks consistently for a reason. And the nice thing for Australia is after this Hard Rock 3, there's no Hard Rock maps left in the pool with Hard Rock 1 and 2 banned out. So likely a tough map for them here, but some relief on the Hard Rock and afterwards.
And of course, gotta shout out this map. This is one of the custom songs this week made for the 5-Digit World Cup. Shout out to Sugo Sugoi for that right now. And thanks to Elcheer and Liquarius for mapping and hit sounding.
Yeah, two players to keep an eye on here. Hotbread and of course Poyuto. Hotbread had the third best Hard Rock 3 score last weekend on the finals pool. Guess who was number 2? Of course, it was Poyuto. So those are two players that are poised to put up some big scores, and if they can match each other, they could keep their respective teams in this one. I think the bigger question mark is going to be the supporting combos for the United States, or sorry, for Australia, as they don't necessarily have a 4-man Hard Rock roster.
Yeah, Wishender has usually been the final fill out for Australia's hard rock or general non-DT mechanics. Usually he is preferable on the speed, but the main ones to look out for is Haley on that Australia side, as well as Brian Thomas Jr., both very much hard rock specialists for their each teams, in comparison to Hotbread and Puyudo, who are the all-rounder goats.
Yeah, this Hard Rock 3, I would say, one of, if not the most difficult maps in the pool. This is 200 BPM slider tech. There are a couple really brutal sections starting the key eyes, and the last quarter of this map is especially difficult. So for both teams, you really want to build up your advantage in the start of the map, because once you get to that last quarter of the map, it's going to be so absurdly difficult to build up any kind of advantage whatsoever. And you expect to see breaks on this map left, right, and center. These early breaks mean almost nothing. It's all going to be a question of, can one player build up some kind of a big combo, and what kind of recovery can we see from both teams? It's the United States off to their lead. Justin and Puyuto, the only two players to hold. Actually, Wishender has held as well. So now it's just Wishender facing off against Justin, but good recoveries on United States. It looks like Phoenix had a Bancho miss as well, so is still on the FC. That one is going to be a real miss from Phoenix, and we're going to have to keep an eye out for Bancho misses on this one, because there's going to be a few of them.
Yeah, and Banjo, never a huge friend of the slider maps. Wishender breaking that final huge combo on the Australia side. Haley on a bit of a recovery now with that early miss, but it is the wall holding Australia up as they take the lead during this section of map. No more FCs remaining. It's Hotbread's recovery versus Haley's. The 97.7 versus the 96.7, 1% divides them accuracy-wise. In comparison to that 80 combo, it's going to be huge. And Supernai, actually, I didn't even notice him. He was a Bancho break. So he's also holding on a massive combo, and this free section is helping Australia tremendously.
Yeah, another miss from White Phoenix. Things are starting to get dicey for the Americans. Giving up your protected pick is absolutely devastating. So the United States need to find a comeback here, but the last quarter of this map, so difficult. This is where you're going to start to see quite a few drops. It's going to need to be Hotbread holding on, but Hotbread finds the miss. Australia have an incredible chance here to take the US's protected pick, storm into the lead. Supernai is holding Puyuto as well, and Hub, I think the Australia are looking well poised to take this one. They just need to hold out a little bit longer into the last quarter of this map.
Yeah, final quarter now. It's Brian Thomas with that final big combo on the ESA side, and as soon as he is mentioned, he follows Puyuto and Supernai. 1K combo on Supernai to close out this pick. The United States protect. Well scouted by Australia with a standout performance from Supernai on this one. Well over 600k now in this flow aim section. The note density very much on his side, and that is a almost 400k score difference on the first map that the United States has picked. That protect is going to pay off massively, and I mean, I guess it's good that it was picked early in that case, because very unexpected outcome.
Yeah, that is a ridiculous score from Supernai. 750k, by far the best Hard Rock 3 score of the weekend. I think before that map, nobody had gotten above 500k. And Australia, now up to nothing. United States no longer with a protect, have put themselves in a rough spot. You know, it's not just about the point, because breakpoints do happen, and there is plenty of time to bring it back, but just from a mental standpoint, losing your protected pick by so much is absolutely devastating. In Australia, I think they're not going to waste any time. They're likely to opt into this DT3 that's been left open by the United States. They've gotten, 3.3 million on this already with a double SC. And we've seen how well they're playing today. They've improved both of their scores from yesterday by about 700,000 points. And so if they can keep that up, they're going to be well on their way to a bracket reset here against the United States. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's still plenty of time for the United States to fight back. It is best of 13 after all.
Yeah, just awaiting that next pick now. I would imagine, again, Fremont seems like the most likely option, if not the speed. DT3 still available in comparison. So, going to be one of those two options, either the mod comfort or the tapping advantage that Australia has held throughout. It's going to be hidden too, actually, doubling down on reading in comparison. It's going to be the kind of rhythmic, more aimy hidden map in Because by Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, this is not so different from the Nomad 6. Obviously, it's AR8 and hidden rather than AR7 and Nomad, but it is, again, pretty heavy on the overlap, and it's more overlap reading. It does have a good amount of slider aim as well, so I think that's kind of where the United States likes this map a little bit more than the other reading maps, is that it is a little bit more aim favored, but you'd certainly give Australia the edge on this one. They have been one of the top reading teams of the tournament, and this is kind of, if there are 4 maps you wanted to ban for United States, it was the Nomad 6, Hidden 2, DT 2, and 3. Obviously, they can only ban 2 of them, and that leaves Hidden 2 and DT 3 open. Hidden 2 is up now, and I think there's a good chance we see Australia coming out with a 3-0 lead. And I want to keep an eye on the reading players for these teams. 47, also known as Steve, has been an incredible reading player for Australia. For the United States, Vlad has kind of been the go-to reading player, but they certainly have some players that can put up decent scores on this map as well. It's not impossible for them to get a point back here.
Yeah, very similar rosters to the Nomad 6. Same exact rosters. Mod's not going to be changing too much. This is going to be slightly higher approach rate, slightly more aim focused than that Nomad 6. We're going to have to see how the mechanics changes things up in comparison to the more memorization favored Nomad 6. And in we go, a little bit of geometric patterning to start us off.
Yeah. Australia have improved their previous scores twice before in this match. Let's see if we can do it again as the United States are getting off to a bit of a rocky start, as we do see early misses from Chobi and Hotbread, and Australia found themselves again 1.5 million on this one, but Steve is going to find a little bit of a miss to balance things out, but Asa and Vleth now finding misses. The entirety of the United States roster have found resets early on, and this is not a super spiky map. It's 2 minutes and 46 seconds. The patterns, yes, they got harder, but there's no crazy spikes, so a concerning start for the Americans, to say the least. Here we go into some of the more slider aim, overlap heavy section, and it's Vault, Poyuto holding the FCs, and Australia off to a very early 100,000 point lead. That's pretty big on a map like this, where there's not a ton of combo density and not a lot of time to build up big combos. Asa finds yet another miss. Chobi and Steve going to be trading now.
Yeah, and it's the accuracy that's going to be showing all the comfort here. Fault on a 2-100 run so far. And that is a triple break for the United States. All big combos down. It's Puyuto and Fault. And unfortunately, Fault falling towards this in-between PI section, but Puyuto still holding on the wall for Australia. And a 300k score division from these two teams at the halfway point is spelling disaster for the United States as they try to get a point in this matchup.
Yeah, this is an incredible score from Puyuto so far. Still holding that FC, and again, Hubba, Australia have reached that 1.5 million score mark, and they're going to be improving this score by a pretty significant margin. This is a massive improvement compared to yesterday, and all of a sudden, all that kind of score prep the United States have done, they've looked at Australia's scores, they've gone, okay, we think we can win this map and this map and this map based on Australia's previous scores. All of a sudden, it's not so certain, and the United States are going to have to reconsider their pick strategy here.
Yeah, things are incredibly very dicey. Everybody on the United States side shocked that Puyuto is still holding onto the FC in this final sliver of map. It's going to be all eyes on him to see how he closes out this map victory.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot understate how good of a score this is from Puyuto. The previous best score on the map, well, at least in this tournament, is 500,000. So if Puyuto can hold on to the full combo through the end, it has a chance to double that. And looking at, unfortunately, finds the miss, but Puyuto has put in the work, has done more than enough here to get Australia a 3rd point on the board. And United States, their corner is still looking pretty empty.
Yeah, that is first 2 picks in the books for Australia. United States, their first protect pick being at that break point. Looking to claw their first one out now. But of course, everything is dicey to this point. Again, that Protect Point victory was a 400k difference, which has to do something to the mental if I was on that team. So picking from here on out is going to be incredibly shaky. Something like, it has to be something very consistent, like a Nomad 1 or a DT 1. Just like can't be playing around with slight tech or slight gimmicks at this point if you are the United States.
Yeah, do really like both of those. I think both of the aim picks make a lot of sense. And it is tough not being able to pick the Hard Rocks now. I am possibly looking towards the Fremont too. It would be a bit of a risky pick considering how good Australia has looked on the Fremonts. But part of the reason Australia's looked so good on the Fremonts is that they have players that are able to take easy and take advantage of some of those really big multipliers. The fact that they banned out the Fremont 2 yesterday makes me think maybe they haven't taken as much time to practice the easies, and so I think that could be a really solid pick for the US as well, but depends how they're feeling on the map, of course. I think really any aim focus pick is generally going to be solid for them. Even the DT4 seems like it would be a solid option, but Nomad 1, United States, need to get a point back. I mean, giving up those first 2 points those first 2 Australia picks is not the end of the world. It's kind of what you'd expected. It's more the fashion in which they've lost, however. They've been absolutely dominated, 400k, 900k. They need to find something here, but this aim, Nomad, is their bread and butter.
Yeah, if not one of the best aim teams in this tournament, one of the best consistency teams in this tournament is a given for the United States playing into this Nomad 1. This is going to be, I believe, the highest star rated map of this pool other than the tiebreaker. So hopping into those aim mechanics is the United States. Already have their roster lined up. Hot Red left, White Phoenix and Chichobi are going to be the plays. All Blue making their first appearance for this matchup. Presumably, that is the captain. I don't know if he's just countdown time watching, but yeah,
definitely going to want to keep an eye on White Phoenix on this one. An incredibly good aim player so far in this tournament. Of course, the 2 kind of star players for either team you want to keep an eye on as well. I would be shocked to not see Puyuto back in the lobby. There they are. And this is a relatively standard Nomad 1. There are some tricky linear patterns. I think there's a couple squares as well, but nothing too crazy. Most of the patterns are pretty comfortable for both these players, and it's more so going to be a consistency test. Who can hit these Ki patterns and who can hold on to these big combos? It's the kind of map where you expect to see some bigger combos, and it's going to come down to a few misses, unlike some of our previous maps that were significantly harder.
And All Blue is going to be playing the map full roster on the Australia side. Super 9 Puyuto coming back once again alongside Haley for the mechanics. Big aim pull, first break for Puyuto, and again, very scarce misses on this map. Most of the aim here is very consistent, very comfortable, no real awkward patterns. So gonna be hard pressed to find misses that aren't fully skill favored as we hop into our first Ki.
Yeah, and I would say the last Ki isn't that much harder than the first, so unlike some maps, there is definitely room for comebacks on this one if you fall behind early, but so far it's just Puyuto having found the only misses on the map. Everybody else looking strong. As long as Australia can hold on to at least a few of these FCs, they're still going to be in this one. Bleth finally trades that one back. So United States only able to build up a 40,000 point buffer. Hot Red and All Blue going to be trading next. And it's going to be 2 players on each team to survive that first Ki. Now, it's kind of just a waiting game until we get to the second Ki and we start to see some more misses. And Puyuto, oh, that's a big miss from Chichobi. All of a sudden, Australia have the edge, and this is a pretty easy combo section. Australia should be able to bring this one back before the next Ki section.
Yeah, and it's really great for them that their highest accuracy players are the players holding onto the FCs. Otherwise, the accuracy not very even. You're holding 99s all across the board other than Chichobi due to the big chain miss, but it's Haley missing on this overlap jump patterns that's going to be the equalizer. 5k difference between these teams before this big jump section, but it's SuperNai again to hold on in the hardest part.
Yeah, and Phoenix has fallen. That was the one combo the US couldn't afford to lose. They do have the better recoveries, but those recoveries are just not enough to match SuperNai. But I mean, it is a full reset for the other 3 players on Australia. That's going to keep this score lead close, and actually it's not going over because of these 3 recoveries on the United States. So it's going to take more misses. Australia continues to find chain misses, going to make things more work for SuperNai. But now, as the United States start to drop off these recovery combos, SuperNai is going to have a much better chance to pull this score lead back, and it's quickly dropping, but Puyoto finds another miss. Australia, they need to provide some support here, or SuperNai might not be enough.
Yeah, it's getting really shaky. Big 1/3 pattern is not going to strike him out, but Vleth falls. It's White Phoenix, Hotbread, and Chichobi on the recoveries. Now SuperNai has stumped them out and is now holding on to the lead that United States was holding most of this map. Everybody else falls, but it's SuperNai for Australia, the big carry. Hotbread falls once again. It's White Phoenix to try and be the equalizer if SuperNai falls at all, but it's just not happening. He's holding on tight. 700k and climbing, only a couple 100s to his name. And it's going to be the full trade. It's Chichobi. Can he pull back 50k in this final sliver? He has to hold on. Rest of the map, only combo left on the board.
I mean, it's going to be chain misses from Australia. 500 combo lead is not that much on this map, and it's going to get incredibly close into the ending. We could see more chain misses from Australia. Haley find another miss. That's going to be really impactful. Do we see any more misses out of Australia on the ending? The score lead should flip back over as Chichobi holds, but that miss from White Phoenix is going to flip it back over. Any miss could do it, and the spinner, it's 3,000 Hubba. Do they take it back?
Oh,
no, Australia! Yeah, that miss from Vleth at the end did it, and that's a second break point for Australia. They're up by 4, and it is looking more and more likely that we see a bracket reset here.
That is so scary. The final 1-2 of the map may have caused it. I don't know if it was on their side prior, but the 4k difference on the final miss for Vleth is a scary situation. Of course, shoutouts to SuperNai, the 3 miss, 99%, over 1200 combo on that map. It is no joke against, again, the team touted as the best aim team of the tournament. What a breakpoint from Australia, almost more shocking than the Hard Rock 3.
Yeah, and I mean, someone will have to go back and watch the VOD, but I'm fairly sure the score did flip back over for just a fraction of a second before that miss from Vleth. So the United States, I think, would have brought it back on the spinners, but now they're in a rough spot. Yes, they do have the bracket reset, but I mean, if you get absolutely wiped in the first match, it takes a toll on you mentally. The other thing to keep in mind is it's getting late for a lot of the players in the United States. Now, I don't know how many of them are East Coast versus West Coast, but for the United States players on the East Coast, it's already 11:30 at night. The bracket reset match is going to start at 12:30, which tends to get pretty late. Meanwhile, in Australia, it's kind of the morning for them, right? So they're going to have more time to wake up and generally expect they're going to be feeling even better going into a bracket reset. And so, obviously, it's not going to make a huge difference for either team. I think the time zones are pretty reasonable for both teams, but just something to keep in mind as we go forward. Now we've got the Fremont 3, and we've seen Australia look good on tech. They're going into Fremont 3 calling. Now, this is a really fun map. This is, I would say, one of the easier maps in the pool outside of the aim maps, but it's mostly slider aim for the first half of the map before we really get into it. And then you get some very tricky slider tech in the second half. So this is one of those maps where you really, really need to see the advantage come through in the first half of the map, because you're almost certainly not going to make that up in the second half. My question is, are we going to see any easies on this map? We double checked the multiplier. It's 2.3 for an easy on Fremont, or sorry, 2.6, which is pretty substantial. Now, United States don't really have any easy players, but Australia have 47, and 47 has only taken easy or easy HD on the Fremont so far in this tournament, so I think there's a good chance we see it.
Yeah, and I feel like the easy multipliers are the reason why Fremont 2 was dicey for them previously. I mean, in order to have a positive scoring easy multiplier, it would require an easy hidden on that free mod 2. Meanwhile, with this free mod 3, easy alone is going to be more than enough to have a big score line. And of course, easy is already baked into the score lines for this tournament, luckily. So don't have to do any big math of any sort. We do see Steve in the lobby, so it is likely mods for Hard Rock on Brian Thomas and Haley, and Steve on that easy, Puyudo on the hidden, maybe?
Yeah, it seems reasonable. Now, I will say these are both teams that do like to overmod on the free mods, which is pretty common. I think this map, the second half, is difficult enough that you want to avoid overmodding if possible, but not going to be the case here. It looks like we are going to be getting, that is an easy from Steve or 47, double hidden from Piyuto, Supernai, Haley on the Hard Rock, and then we've got Vleth on hidden, a White Phoenix on hidden Hard Rock, and Brian on the Hard Rock. So I really like putting Hotbread on the no mod. This map to me feels significantly easier with no mod than any of the other mods, and so I think Hotbread has a good chance to put up a good score, but could very well be counteracted by that easy multiplier. 47, Steve finding a pretty early miss, and I think with the easy, the multiplier is so important, and obviously the bigger score you get, the more the multiplier matters, and so it's very, very important to be able to put up a good combo on the easy, or you're going to be missing out on so much score potential here. But early misses aren't going to be too impactful, as this is going to be into the first tricky section of the map. Now we get into some slider aim, and currently it is Australia with a 150,000 point lead, but it is a miss from Haley, traded back by Brian, and Australia should be able to hold on to this lead. It's Hotbread trying to fend off Puyuto, Supernai, and 47 pretty much all alone. I mean, White Phoenix is on a recovery. We do see another miss from 47 on the easy, but still two full combos strong. There goes Hotbread for the United States, and Australia are looking dominant again. This is an incredibly short map, only a third of the map left to go. And Hubba, the last third of this map is so brutal. The slider tech is absolutely insane, and I don't think the United States are going to be able to make up 400,000 points on this ending. We'll see if anybody can hold on, but it's only Vleth for the US. Puyuto, does find a miss, but can Supernai do it again? No, Supernai finds the miss, and I expect Vleth is going to go shortly. This section is so tricky, and Australia are going to be at 5-0. United States are just not having any luck in this match.
Yeah, and it's a big comfort now. Haley holding on to that final combo of left falling, 800k difference. What are you going to do? That is a massive victory for Australia. 2.5 team score on this is no slouch. But it's going to be... I mean, at this point, United States are like... They need a little bit of a reset. And of course, bracket reset will happen if Australia finishes out this match. But like, it's just a mental reset is not there. It's hard to hold on to the combos at this point. Max combo being 513 for that is matched by 3 players on Australia for the map is shaky goings for this United States team. And now just picking is like, what do you pick here? Like, aim didn't work out. The free mods are dicey because of Steve on easy. Like, there's no answer, really.
In my opinion, if United States, this is the point where you give up on trying to win this match. You're down by far too much. Australia still have so many good maps left open. They have the DT3 that they have yet to pick. And so this is time to go into information gathering mode. You don't necessarily want to pick your best map remaining. Instead, you want to pick a map that you are unsure about. Maybe a map you haven't seen Australia played, and I think the No Mod 4 is one of them. This is not a map that we've seen Australia play, but it is very tech heavy, and I really like this pick from the United States. Even if they don't win the map, they're going to get some vital information going into the next one. And I mean, to go back to Australia for a little bit, what's been so impressive about this match to me is they've improved almost every single one of their previous scores. Not by a little bit, but they've been improving them by 500k to 800k, and we'll see if they can continue to do that here. Now this No Mod 4, another very, very difficult map that we're going to see a lot of breaks on. It is pretty much just slider tech. You got really high slider velocity and very, very spiky in terms of difficulty. So it's going to be a question of which players can survive through those Ki sections.
Yeah, and I feel like these sort of mid-range no-mod picks are going to be the real question marks, and that's why they're picking into it something like a no-mod 3 or this no-mod 4 a lot more tech focused rather than slider focused in comparison to the previous tech adjacent maps that have been played so far. Of course, Hard Rock 3 more streamy, and that Fremont 3 a bit more focused on the slider shapes themselves, slider velocity. This one just pure tech. And to test out the full tech range of this Australian roster, of course, the United States, no slouch on the tech, especially with this roster. Leth Hotbread, Brian Thomas filling out the slots there. A little bit undecided though, White Phoenix and Chichobi both in the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are just waiting for them to get Brian out of the lobby so White Phoenix can come in. It does make sense. White Phoenix certainly has been one of the strongest players for the United States. I mean, Brian has as well. I mean, what's so interesting is both these teams have some very strong players. You have your 2 stars in Hotbread and Poyuto, but I mean, when you look at stats from last week and you look at the players that have put up, top scores on various maps, there's 6 different players on either team that have put up top 5 scores on either map, and I think that's a sign of good roster construction. You have your specialists that are top tier at their specific maps. You don't need to have a team full of all-rounders that can play everything. You want to get 4 players that can be top of their class and their specific maps and just win those maps. That's all you need, and I think that's why both of these teams have ended up in the winners bracket grand finals. But now, into this No Mod 4. This is a pretty long one as well, so plenty of time for breaks, plenty of time for recoveries. Let's see what both teams can do, and let's see if United States can get a much-needed point on the board. Even if you only get 1 this match, I feel like feels so much worse getting swept than it does, losing a 7-1 or 7-2.
Yeah, and already we're seeing a little bit more comfort on the United States side. You see a couple mid breaks coming out from All Blue and Haley, and only traded by White Phoenix. Big flow aim patterns and overlapping slider shapes. Break from both Chichobi and Leth now. It's just 2 big combos on each side, a couple Bancho breaks in tow. But even scoreline, 40k difference, combo advantage United States.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Super Nye again, has been playing so incredibly well for Australia today, absolutely popping off, but being matched by Hotbread and White Phoenix. So United States finally find themselves in the lead, but with so much map to go, it's a question of whether or not they can hold on into another tricky section coming up here. Phoenix does find a miss, but it's going to be traded back by 2 misses on Australia. That trade will favor Australia ever so slightly. Now, it is Chichobi and All Blue on the recovery. That pattern is going to claim the entire lobby except for All Blue and Chichobi. We'll see if any of those were bunch of misses. I don't think so. And with that, Hubba, it's a full reset and 80,000 point lead for the United States. They've got half the map to go. Can they hold on?
Yeah, all that damage done just in the first third of that map shows how volatile this skill set can be. One of the lower SR maps of the pool and still devastatingly volatile with these wiggle patterns. Just a build-up section now at this halfway point. Any breaks here would be devastating as everyone falls back. Still only 100k of difference, and Hotbread missing on these 1/3 is going to give Australia a little bit of an in.
Yeah, thankfully we have another QI coming up very shortly, so assuming Australia don't hold too long for that QI, that miss from Hotbread shouldn't be so impactful. And keep in mind, any trade of misses at this point is going to be favoring the United States. It is up to Australia to find themselves an advantage, and with Hotbread only being 200 combo behind, it's not going to be the end of the world. Leth and Super Nye trade, as I mentioned, that favors the United States. They need 1 player to hold on, but Haley is going to find the miss. It's all up to All Blue and Poyuto, but they're also relying now on misses from some of those United States combos. They don't have maybe enough time to bring it back. It's 100,000 points. There's a miss from Chichobi. This is the angle Australia needed, trying to fend off a White Phoenix. All Blue trades it back, though. Couldn't afford to miss that one. Now, Poyuto versus Phoenix. I think Australia can bring it back if Phoenix misses, but that's a big if Phoenix is looking so good on this ending. Does find the miss. Can Poyuto bring this one back? It's only 80,000 points and 700 combos. Absolutely massive. I think they have the time, however.
Yeah, Super Nye matching what Hotbread brings to the table. Poyuto's combo is basically free. Slow Slider takes out Chichobi. It's Leth and Hotbread with the 300 combo extra on Poyuto is free. It's all eyes on this final break core section. The note density might be enough, but it's this final sliver of map, 18k, 15k, slowly shrinking as Australia tries to confirm a sweep. The score line goes back, and no slider breaks on the final one.
That is devastation for the United States. Pöyütö brings it back in the ending. They're going to take that one by 11,000. And they are going to be on a very quick match point. I think the United States, they do have some positives, right? I think this match is a lot closer than the scoreboard shows. They've lost this one by 11,000. They lost the previous map by 3,000, but I mean, getting sweeped is so tough mentally. Thankfully, the bracket reset is scheduled for 4:30 UTC, not for another 45 minutes. So now, I imagine they're not going to wait the full 45 minutes to play the bracket reset, but the United States should be able to take a bit of a break, get their mentals reset, take a breather before getting to the next match. Maybe that'll help them out a little bit. But Australia very quickly opting for the free mod 2 pick. This is surprising because they banned this one out in their last match against the Philippines, but clearly they feel like, you know what, they're up 6-0. What could possibly go wrong? And maybe information gathering for Australia here, trying to get a sense of whether maybe they need to ban it out in the next match or whether it's a pickable map for them going into bracket reset, because with so many close maps and so much more information between these two teams, I expect to see pick ban strategy shape up quite differently coming into the next match, or the bracket reset, I should say.
Yeah, and I feel like, of course, we have to talk about the team construction of Philippines when it comes to that ban as well. Philippines, an equally very strong raiding team. Zany, their main player, is one of the standout raiding prodigies on the come up right now. So a map like this, the lower BPM flow aim, sort of non-consistent note length on the strings in this map as well, kind of linear awkward angles, not going to be privy against that Philippines roster, but here we see that same roster come out once again. Haley likely on the Hard Rock, Pöyütö, Super Knight, the hidden players, and Steve on that easy. In comparison to the United States, White Phoenix, as seen, the Comfort hidden Hard Rock, Brian Thomas on the Hard Rock only, and Hot Bread hid.
Yeah, now interestingly, we have seen Pöyütö play easy before, and we have seen Steve play easy hidden, so really curious to see if either of those end up being the case, or if they opt for the kind of more standard hidden on Pöyütö and just easy on 47. Meanwhile, if we talk about the US mod combinations, expected to be kind of the same as usual. I would like to see Hot Bread on the no mod again, but may need to take the Hard Rock because they don't really have another Hard Rock player, and both teams over modding. And this is a surprise. 2 Hard Rocks, 1 hidden, and a hidden Hard Rock for the United States. Meanwhile, we've got an easy, a Hard Rock, and 2 hiddens for Australia. So quite surprised to see nobody on the no mod, but I guess since it is AR 8.5, the no mod is effectively still a rating mod. So if you don't feel comfortable with low AR, then taking the Hard Rock makes sense. But it's going to be an early miss for 47, traded by Hot Bread and United States. Let's see if we can get just 1 point on the board to feel a little bit better going into this bracket reset. It is going to be misses traded now by Phoenix and Super Nye. And so easy multipliers on this one, 1.5 on just the easy for 47, so significantly less than the free mod 3, and so that easy is actually not that much of an advantage compared to something like the hidden Hard Rock that gives a much high, or a pretty solid multiplier. And so it is going to be the United States off to the early lead, but the miss from Jacoby is going to slow that down a little bit, and this is a reasonably long map, very heavy on the slider aim, very heavy on the aim control, and so we'll see who can hold, as it's currently Brian on the full combo, matched by Haley, and support in favor of the United States as both Pöyütö and 47 find misses.
Yeah, and the shakiness now. Oh, that Haley full combo falls with Brian Thomas and White Phoenix. Once again, Hot Bread also on some solid supporting. Super Knight also falls. I was going to mention Steve not being able to hold on to a big combo here is devastating with the score drop caused by easy on this map. Of course, the mult on this is 1.5, which is less than the 2.0 that you would normally get. So that is a big score loss for Australia, and with no further combos on the board, even with that full reset from the United States, it's 100k to qual off of the back of a Haley 300 combo, which is a tough ask.
I mean, 47 is there as well, although it's 400 combo, and there's quite a bit of time left in this map. It's a reasonably long one. If United States keep resetting their combos, we could very well see Australia bring this one back. We see the score gap is already closed by 50,000 points, now down to 30,000. We need to see 47 or Haley miss, or Australia will close this one out right here. Supernai is going to slow things a little bit, but it's not enough. Those aren't the misses that the United States needs. Another miss from Brian is devastating. Polito trades it, but again, it's those two key combos, Hothbred and White Phoenix, desperately trying to match, but there is nothing they can do but watch. 47 finds the reset. Haley, the last one holding, but there goes Phoenix. Australia might be able to flip this one into the ending. Haley finds the miss. United States should be able to hold on as long as Hotbread holds, and United States fans breathe a sigh of relief as Hotbread holds on just long enough to close this one out. They're going to get at least 1 point on the board in this match and a break point. So let's see if the United States can make it to a sign of life at the very least.
Yeah, there is no cheese on that Hotbread. Aiming every wiggle paid off for him in the ending combo there for that 4 miss to close it out. And first point on the board for the United States on the Australia pick, that being a break point, definitely going to be a boost to the morale a little bit for the USA side.
Yeah, and I don't actually think this changes your strategy for the United States. I don't think you're all of a sudden after getting that 1 point going, okay, let's we're gonna come back and win this one. Let's pick all our best maps. I think you still want to gather information if you can with this next pick. Maybe pick something that you're not sure about that you want to test out. I guess the other side of that is if you do pick for information, you're potentially giving info over to Australia. If you pick a sketchy map and get blown out all of it on it, all of a sudden Australia feels more confident picking that going forward. So it's not a strategy without risks. Mind you, I think down 6-1, it's time to go for risk. They're going to opt for DT1. This is definitely one of their better maps, and I expect them to do incredibly well on this one. I mean, we look back to previous weeks. Justin had the top score on DT1. Brian was number 3, and I think a lot of the United States roster was not too far behind. I mean, if we take a look at the stats on this DT1 from last week, yeah, Hotbread, even at number 7, so we expect them to put up a very good score. As likely to we're going to see Supernai Haley in for Australia. Very curious whether or not we're going to see Toaru, I think, in finals and semifinals both. DT1 was the only map Toaru played for Australia, so may see their first appearance in the grand finals, and potentially only appearance if we don't see the DT1 picked in bracket reset, which, I mean, to be fair, it almost certainly will be by the United States.
For sure. And of course, it has to be mentioned the staggering skill difference between the two DT1s. Last week's DT1 was very awkward aim focused, sort of something that you would see like in like a hidden slot, like very awkward angles, very high BPM. This map, a lot more all-rounded, a lot more speed in this map than in previous DT1s. Of course, there is the high BPM aim focus, but plenty of long bursts to be had in this emotional classic.
Yeah, I don't know. In my mind, I'd say this gets about as standard of a DT1, aim consistency pick as you can get. You've got your fast aim, you've got your, really fast 5-mil bursts, and of course you have your AR 10.3 DT. And I think that AR 10.3 can be a big difference maker, because if you're not comfortable on AR 10.3, it makes the map feel so incredibly fast. But I do think all these players should be comfortable enough on AR 10.3, and we do see Toaru in for Australia, along with Wish Ender, not a player we've seen a lot of. And is this Justin's first map for the United States? I don't know if Justin has actually played maybe one so far, but certainly hasn't been in for many, if so.
He played the Hard Rock 3. It is, however, Natsumi Shiki's first map, otherwise known as Valine, hopping in for their first one for the United States.
Yeah. If the United States do still have any hope of winning this match, DT1 going to be a good pick for them to do it on. And honestly, even though the United States don't expect to win this match, this is going to be a key pick. Because if you lose the DT1, This was supposed to be one of your best maps. If you lose this one too, give up another breakpoint, you're kind of, I don't know, really hesitant to take this one going into the bracket reset, and you kind of have very few picks that you can feel confident on. So I do think it is very important that the United States wins this one, even if it's not going to mean much for this match. Here we go, into the first Ki. So far, we've got 3 FCs holding strong for the US, only 2 for Australia. Haley does find the miss as well, so it's going to be a 3-player reset for Australia. Peyuto trying to fend off the world now. United States off to a good lead, but it's a long map. Plenty of time for Australia to find themselves a comeback, especially with Hotbread and Brian Thomas Jr. missing. Justin, the #1 DT1 player from last week, looking to do it again, but Peyuto looking really solid as well.
Yeah, and 120k difference on paper certainly looks very good. Of course, we have to keep in mind the multiplier on the DT. It makes it a little closer than it may seem. So, but there's just not recoveries on these players. I mean, Valian's recovery kind of stumping out Haley's by double. Toaru, Wishender, Brian Thomas, Hotbread have a little bit of an edge on them. So it is going to be a ever-growing lead for the United States, as Justin holding on to massive accuracy, only a couple 100s to his name, if not just one.
Yeah, on a map this long, with combos this high, 200,000 points is nothing. All it takes is one big combo on the side of Australia to make a comeback. That's assuming the big combos on the United States fall off at some point, but they're looking incredibly strong. Outside of those early misses, they've all found good recoveries. Justin finds a big miss, but Wishender trades it back. It's not going to be the end of the world, because Hotbread and Brian together should be able to match Peyuto, and then Natsume is ahead of Toaru, so the score lead not going to go back over quite yet until we see more misses. That's another big one from Natsume. Now Peyuto and Toaru are going to start to bring this one back, but they're quickly running out of time. With a quarter of the map to go, I think we're going to see one more miss coming out of Hotbread or Brian for the Australia to be able to bring this one back comfortably.
Yeah, final quarter of the map. Now it's all up to the note density. It's all up to Peyuto holding on to their FC. 1200 combo and growing for them is a must-have to close out this top match for the bracket reset. Both the 700 combos on Hotbread and Brian Thomas Jr., a little bit of a twin situation up top. Haley and Justin trading down below. Toaru only one to match the 2 players on the United States. 100k
Brian
is shrunk. Brian Thomas falls. It's all up to Hotbread now. Peyuto's FC is still held, just a silver map remaining. Toaru kind of stopping the bleeding, but it's still just a 20k difference and 100k left of score for Peyuto on these final sliders. Is it going to be enough? Under 10k now, just small margins on this DT mod.
There's time. It should go back over.
There we go.
Obviously, any miss would flip it, but there's not really anything to miss on into the ending. United States give up the DT1. What an incredible score from Peyuto to close this one out. That is brilliant. And with that, Australia are one step closer to victory. They've taken their vengeance on the United States for that finals match in dominant fashion. Now, they just need to do it one more time. The United States, they're not out of it yet, though. They had some incredibly close matches, losing that one by only 10,000. They lost the previous map by 13,000, and another map was lost by 3,000 points. And so even though it was 7-1, United States had some incredibly close ones, and I think they're going to come out strong in the bracket reset. 4:30 is the scheduled time for a bracket reset, so the teams have an option here. They can either take a break and play the match at 4:30 UTC, which is in 30 minutes from now, or if they prefer, they can just get it over with and play this one now. But we're going to close this lobby, and that will likely be back. Actually, we'll keep the stream open until we just find out when the next match starts, just so that we can keep you guys updated. But Hubba, do you feel like we see the pick ban strategy change coming into the bracket reset for either team? I think bans pretty reasonable for both teams. Do we feel for the United States that any of the other maps are higher priority bans after seeing this match played out?
Almost certainly. I see them. I mean, it always is a shame to see a custom song banned out, but I could see uh, the United States deciding to protect Hard Rock 1 next time over Hard Rock 3. Of course, Australia likely to leave that Hard Rock 3 open, ban somewhere else. But the full aim has been really in favor of the United States. I mean, of course, Super Nye, the clutch up of all time with that near FC on Nomad 1, but it's going to be a tall task to recreate that type of performance. So I could see United States sort of leaning into that, leaning into some more of these alt favored picks, some of the snap focus maps is going to be up to the United States to pull through on, and hope that these big carry performance Australia has been pulling out don't continue on.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think like even the protect may change. I mean, that Nomad 6 almost certainly going to be protected again, but I think you want to see the United States change up their protect. I'm not opposed to them picking that Hard Rock 3 again if they feel they low rolled it, but seeing as they lost it by 400,000 points, they certainly don't need to protect it again, because I would be shocked to see Australia ban it out. And they can instead maybe use their protect on the. I mean, I wouldn't even use it on the one map they won necessarily, because that was Australia's pick, but the United States have a lot to think about in the next 30 minutes. We have gotten confirmation that the next match will take place in 30 minutes, so we will be taking a 30-minute break. But since we do have some time, I'm going to take some time to talk a bit more about the big bans for anybody who wants to stick around, kind of have a chill chat about the match, so it's not quite as long of a break for you guys. The other map that stood out to me, now, obviously, Green Light's Serenade was an incredibly close pick. That is the Nomad 4? No. Oh, it's the Nomad 1. My apologies. And so there are definitely close maps that United States are going to feel pretty comfortable picking into once again. Things like the Nomad 4, the DT1 that they just picked. But then you look at something like the... this hidden, what was it? The hidden 2 that they decided not to ban out, ended up losing by 600,000 points. That's potentially worthy of a ban going forward. It really depends how they feel on their other 2 bans. I think that ET2 is a kind of a must ban going forward, whereas their other ban, Nomad 5, but we had some insider information before this match. The United States actually felt decent on the Nomad 5, but they, at least in the previous week, but just were kind of choking it in practice in the kind of hour leading up to this match, so opted to ban it in the end. If they can play that again, find some consistency, then maybe they don't feel the need to ban that out.
Yeah, I could see the what was it? I could see the hidden 2 ban. Of course, Nomad 6 very, very likely to be what was it? Sorry, there's a lot going on in the background right now, guys. The Nomad 6 very likely to remain the protect on the Australia side, very comfortable on that map as well scouted. And there are other things to play into. Something like a Free Mod 1, very dense style, could be Australia favored going forward just due to their comfort there, despite it being an AM map. But joining us for this discussion is going to be Juno now.
Yeah, it's we know 30 minutes is a bit of a long wait, so we're gonna get Juno in here. We're gonna get a bit of a mini podcast going, so you guys have some entertainment before the bracket reset. Juno, you were watching as a viewer from the grandstands. Talk to me about this match. How do you feel about the overall direction of the picks, the bans, and what do you want to see done differently going forward for the United States?
I think that this is going to be quite interesting for the United States, mostly because of the time of this match. I am very concerned about fatigue, especially for East Coasters when we get to, like, this match is going to start at 12:30 in the middle of the night for some of these players. I do worry for the United States in that fashion, whereas Australia playing at a much more favorable time right now. And then we'll see with the picks and bans, I think that Australia were holding their cards, especially with DT3 not being picked. I think that could have been a very important map for them to hold and not show a score for that one.
Yeah, that is interesting. It was an interesting choice, but they kind of already have shown a score, right? They played it versus Philippines yesterday. They put up 3.2 million on it with Payuto getting an FC. And so I do feel like United States knows that they're almost never picking the DT3. In fact, I thought they might want to ban it out. And the fact that Australia didn't pick it, especially early on, makes me think that either they thought US could potentially put up a similarly good score, or they didn't feel like, or Payuto wasn't feeling comfortable enough to FC that again. And so they're kind of expecting themselves to get a significantly lower score, right? So maybe the DT3 is not as guaranteed as we would expect, but the fact that Australia has won this one 7-1 and still has picks that feel like they should be pretty dominant is definitely scarier for the United States. And even though I think we'll see a better performance from them in the bracket reset, they've got a lot of work to do, and they're going to need to improve a lot of their scores. The other thing I wanted to point out is that Australia significantly improved a lot of their scores compared to yesterday. And so it's a question of whether they low rolled yesterday or high rolled today. Because it's possible that they just played absolutely out of their minds in this match, and they're going to have a very tough time repeating some of those scores, in which case we're going to see a much closer bracket reset. On the other hand, if this is just the level Australia is playing at right now, I think they're the clear favorites going into the bracket reset. And also, since we've got some time, if anybody has questions or opinions to share in the chat, feel free to share them, and we are happy to discuss your opinions. But yeah.
Also, something I wanted to point out, just as a little fun fact in between, that DT1 final pick, that is a Payuto's current top play with a hidden double time FC that he got 6 days ago in preparation for this match, and his accuracy was that much better on the FC that he just got that he would have gotten more PP with his DT only play in match than his top play.
That's just crazy to think that that five digits are setting these types of scores in matches. You just love to see it. Speaking of Payuto, absolutely popped off on that last DT1 pick, but also really popping off on those reading picks. Got the top score in the lobby for both the Nomad 6 and the Hidden 2. So I wonder if the USA's ban strategy does change and they decide to ban one of these reading picks. Of course, Nomad 6 was protected by Australia. I assume that's not going to change. I assume that they're still going to be protecting that Nomad 6. It looked so good for them winning that by over 800k. But I wonder if that Hidden 2 is another map that that the US, they decide to maybe ban instead of that Nomad 5 or DT2 that we saw in the last match.
Yeah, I mean, another play I wanted to call out is Supernai for Australia, who had an absolutely incredible performance. I mean, a lot of times was right there behind Payuto, and it certainly wasn't what I expected coming into this match. Had scores like the 750k on Right Now, which is, I believe, the Hard Rock 3. Had another incredible score on, what was the map? Greenlight Serenade on that Nomad 1, putting up 800k. And to be fair, Supernai has looked really good this tournament, but hasn't quite been on the level of Payuto, so did kind of expect Supernai to fall back a little bit, especially on a pool as hard as the Grand Finals, but I mean, has looked absolutely incredible in this match so far, has been keeping up with Payuto on a lot of these maps, and even putting up some crazy carry performances on some of these maps. So having kind of two big carries here as opposed to just one is really helping out Australia, whereas for the US, feels like a lot of the pressure is falling on Hotbread, which is not necessarily unexpected, but I don't think they necessarily expected Supernai to be putting up so many incredible scores.
Yeah, especially with like we've been talking a lot about the protect and ban strategy of United States, but Australia has kind of a world to play with now. They have scouted out what was the closest maps. I see a world where Hard Rock 2 stays the consistent ban there, but assuming the United States changes their protect Hard Rock to Hard Rock 1, I think they're going to leave Hard Rock 3 open and play ball with banning something else, maybe banning out that No Mod 1, seeing as, I mean, of course they won the map, but it was superbly close. It took a near FC on one of their top performers, plus a very unfortunate miss at the tail end. We still need confirmation whether or not that final miss was the real nail in the coffin there, but it's going to be a little bit of an opening for you, Australia, to have looks into some maps that were previously United States favored.
Yeah, curious if anybody has the match cost for that one. I would love to see it, but I don't have it yet. So maybe somebody can find the match cost and let us know, because that would be interesting to see. I've got about 20 minutes to go before the next match. I imagine, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about this. If you're the United States, are you taking this time to practice the maps, or are you just taking this time to just take a break, take a breather, you know, maybe get a snack, go for a walk? Because I feel like, for me personally, I know it's different for everybody, but for me personally, like, if I'm getting ready for a grand finals match, I've already done a ton of prep, a ton of practice for the maps throughout the week, and so one or two more repetitions on any given map is likely not going to make a huge difference, right? If anything, I find if you over practice, you just kind of overthink certain tricky patterns, and you tend to be more likely to miss. It doesn't apply to everybody, but for me, I feel like I'm better off in a situation like this, just going for a walk, getting some water, trying to clear my head and reset the mental. And but I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I think that the mental is the most important part here. I agree with you. Just taking the time, get that mental reset in place. I'm also looking at seeing what was not picked, and maybe thinking of what we could be seeing in this map that we didn't see in the past map. We didn't see maps like No Mod 2 and 3 and 7. And we barely touched the hidden pool aside from that hidden 2 being picked by Australia. So it'll be interesting to see if we see a lot of the same maps, and maybe with that mental reset going to be maybe rolling a bit better, or do they take this time even to practice a completely different set of maps that didn't have any presence in this match, it being 7-1.
Yeah, and I think the hidden maps generally do favor Australia. You know, the United States have put up some good scores on the hidden 1 in the past. Now, the hidden 1 this week is another aim consistency map. Aim is slightly awkward, but that's something the USA has excelled at. So I think both teams are hesitant to pick that map for different reasons. The United States may be hesitant to pick it because they don't want to pick hidden into Australia. Australia may be hesitant to pick it because they don't want to pick aim into United States. But the hidden 3 is one I do think would favor Australia as well, that kind of snap alt hidden map. And we do see the match costs on screen here. Pöyütö, as expected, 2.13. Supernai not far behind, and Hotbread is up there, but even after Hotbread, it's Haley in third, and this is kind of the more surprising thing. You kind of go into this match based on previous tournament performances, expected to see, Pöyütö, Hotbread in those top 2 spots, with the rest of the players supporting around them. So the fact that Supernai is right up there, outpacing Hotbread, makes things really difficult for the US. We need to see that changed for the United States in the next match. But I think on the bright side, you do see that wave of red after Haley, so they seem to have the better support overall. They just are having a hard time keeping up with those really big combos.
Yeah, and with something like it's very apparent that you have to split up this Australia team a little bit. With these 2 top performers, the only map that Supernai didn't play is that DT1. So maybe picking into some more of these mechanics picks could strike out one of those red hot Australian players that are just like topping the round right now. And of course, Puyudo, he's gonna play everything no matter what. But with Puyudo, like there's really no stopping him. At least there's a stopping Super Nai. Like there's ways to pick around him.
Welcome, Lefkai, to the podcast as well. I mean, we're just kind of taking some time to talk about the match because, we've got a bit of extra time, 15 minutes till the bracket reset. What are your thoughts on this overall match?
Oh yeah, this Australia has looked so good this morning, or at least morning for me. But like all of their players have been showing up like yesterday, today, and maybe even in the next few minutes. Australia is so locked in, but we'll see if I'm wondering what USA is gonna pull up on this second match. They have the time to like regroup, right? They have a few minutes to try and get their head back into the game. So we'll see what they can do.
I really like your point about trying to split up Super Nai and Puyudo. Obviously, that would be ideal for the US. If you can get one of them out of the lobby, that would help a lot. That being said, much easier said than done. Puyudo is going to play every single map for this team, and Super Nai plays most maps as well, right? Is going to be in for any of the no mods, is in for reading, is generally in for the hard rock as well. The only thing Puyudo doesn't play, as you mentioned, that DT1 wasn't in for, and then likely the speed maps, so things like DT2, DT3, and if we expect DT2 to be banned out by the US, it's not easy, because let's say if you're the US and you want to split up the two players, the only option to do that is some of those tapping DTs, and the problem then is, great, you get Super Nai out of the lobby, and then you get Fault in the lobby, who is one of the best tapping DT players in this entire tournament. I mean, you look at the scores from last week, Fault had the top score on DT2, managed to get a full combo on it, and I'm not sure about yesterday. I think had a FC on the DT3 yesterday as well, which is of course from this pool. Don't quite remember how Fault performed on the DT2. I'll see if I can check on that now. It'll be just a second. Yeah, so it was Fault getting an FC 1.1 million on the DT3 with 97.7 accuracy. Then on the DT2, Fault was actually out for that one, which is surprising, maybe a little bit fast, but regardless, even if you get Super Nai out, those maps have Fault, and so I don't think it's as much as it would feel good for the US, I don't think it's necessarily a viable strategy here. And I do agree, No Mod 4 is an absolute banger. There are a lot of bangers in this pool, a lot of really fun maps. I mean, the No Mod 4, the Hard Rock 2 is a banger as well. The tiebreaker this week, 5WC Custom is so good. Hopefully, hopefully we get to see a tiebreaker naturally. If not, hopefully we can get that showcase, because it is such a cool map.
Yeah, as well as the No Mod 3, of course, also being the other custom song not present in this match, but I did have the absolute pleasure of playing it in our staff show match earlier today, and what a ride that was. I believe I got 46k on it. I would assume these players would get a lot better scores on it than I did.
I would think so.
But a map that would love to see present in the bracket reset match.
Yeah, now I did want to ask you guys, I don't know how familiar you guys are with this TB, but it is very tech heavy. It kind of has a little bit of everything in terms of tech, but I'd say the main focus is the slider tech with, some aim control tech, some stream tech, and some aim tech mixed in. Who do we feel like that fares? Because we did see quite a few tech maps played. We saw the Hard Rock 3, which was US's protected pick. Australia ended up winning that one by 400,000 points. The other two tech maps we saw were the Nomad 4 and the Fremont 3. So that Fremont 3 calling Australia won again by 400,000 points with a really good performance from Payuto. And then that Nomad 4 was another win from Australia, but this time only by 11,000 points. So, I mean, I'll send it over to Hubba first. Do you feel like this Tech TB maybe favors Australia slightly based on what we've seen so far? Or do you think United States can compete on something like that?
The issue, I think, is less the tech and more the mechanics of this tiebreaker.
Okay.
It's very like the top half is very. It was described in the show match by one of the people on my team as like survive the first half to make it to the tech
That's
second
interesting.
half.
Okay.
So like you're gonna have to pick into your mechanics roster for the dense like 220 tapping finger control in the top half, especially with that higher approach rate. It's AR 9.8 as is standard highest SR of the like pool, but like you have to pick into a certain roster, which I think picking into that roster favors the United States a bit more because their tech players are their tapping players. Meanwhile, Australia, their tapping roster is a whole different set of players that we hardly saw, right? Then we saw them come in for that DT1 and really nothing else. So it's going to be interesting to see how the United States range of players plays into that.
It is really interesting. Maybe Australia favored on the tech side second half. Maybe United States favored on the first half, more mechanics. Lefray, I don't know if you have any thoughts on who do you feel like is favored on that tiebreaker between the two teams?
Personally, I would put Australia because it just seems like their scaling is so good right now, and that TV scales so high.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that is a good point as well. I mean, so far, the two players that have been scaling the best, Payuto and Supernai, are both on Australia. Juno, you're the last one. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. This is a fast TB, or at least it feels fast to me being at that 220 BPM. I'm more on in the same camp as Hubba here with the US having their core players in their tapping roster will really benefit from this. I think that they're very evenly matched on tech, and I feel like if you have to bring in someone like Falta, Toru, or Wishender for that just doesn't play that many maps already in the match, I wonder about nerves at that point if you're coming in cold to TB. Obviously, you're given lots of time before the TB to go and play parts of the map a few times, but that's my thought on this is that a lot of the players on the side US will be very warm, very locked into the match, whereas some of the players on Australia, obviously depending who they put in, but might not be coming in as warm and dialed in as those on the US.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, mind you, the United States, they have to make it to tiebreaker first, right? And so far, they've been on the back foot, but I do want to reiterate one more time just how close so many of those maps were. I mean, if they get 20 extra points on 3 of those maps, all of a sudden, rather than being down 7-1, it's 4-3, and you have a much closer match on your hands. So I don't know. I do think the United States have a very realistic shot at making this a close one. They have been the kind of dominant team so far in this tournament, and I mean, this is the first match where we've really seen them falter in any way. So we'll have to see how it goes. But with about 6 minutes left until the bracket reset, I think we've kind of talked about this match as much as we have. I mean, if anybody else has anything to add, feel free to butt in, but I think we've covered about most of it. So we are going to be taking a short break. Now is the time to get your popcorn, refill your water bottles, and get comfortable for this bracket reset. We will be back in 7 minutes time with Australia versus United States bracket reset. Australia looking for not only their first podium, but their first ever 5 WC win. United States looking for a return to glory, but we're going to need to see something more out of them in this bracket reset. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in a second.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We are here for the bracket reset of the 5-digit World Cup, and it has been just under 4 months that these players have put their all into this tournament, starting with the registrations, getting through the tryouts, and eventually qualifiers, and the bracket stage has all come to this very moment. And we have two teams here, the number 1 seed United States coming from the winner's bracket, and they are going up against the Cinderella story, the number 6 seed in the tournament. It is Australia in for this match. Took the first grand finals match of a score of 7-1 in a dominant formation against the United States, and now beginning the bracket reset. My name is Juno, and I'm joined by LeFarai and iFlame for this final match, and I'm going to pass it over to LeFarai now. Welcome, and we're going to be getting into this match now.
Well, many thanks, Juno, for that little intro there. Are you guys ready? It's Australia against United States. One final match, guys. I hope you guys are all ready, because we got bans coming already. Protects Nomad 6 for Australia. Again, they're keeping that Nomad 6 Protect on. United States will switch it up to Hard Rock 2 next. Instead of the Hard Rock 3, they're deciding to change their strategy. And here comes the bans, Juno. What do you think about these bans?
Yeah, these are... Oh, go ahead, Juno.
Yeah, as you said, different Protect coming out here and similar bans though. But iFlame, this Hard Rock 2 Protect now coming out, different than what we saw last match with the Hard Rock 3.
Yeah, it is what I like to see, especially seeing as they lost the Hard Rock 3 by 400,000. You know there's no risk of Australia banning that out, so protecting that would be a waste. Instead, Protect, one of the maps that Australia banned, forced them to change up their bans. And I mean, I guess Australia could ban out the one map that the US won. That was a breakpoint though, so doubtful Australia wants to ban that either. More likely, they just ban out one of the DT1s. They're going to go for the DT4 instead. This one makes a lot of sense, has been one of the United States' best DT maps, and I'm glad to see both teams making some adaptations here.
Yeah, and this is going to be another best of 13, first to 7 points. And just what we saw from this last match, we saw absolute pop-off performances from the 2-star players on the side of Australia, Poyuto and Supernai, getting the 2 top match costs in the last match. They really put on a show and really took a lot of the wind out from the sails of the United States.
Yeah, Australia just so good so far. Ever since this weekend started, they have been proving that 3rd place prediction wrong, and they are looking for number 1 straight up. And I think they have their first pick here. Is that Nomad 6 again? Are we seeing it?
Yeah, it makes too much sense, right? They first picked it last time around. The match went incredibly well for them. There's not really any need to change it up. They won that map by about 800,000 points, and so you expect them to pick that again and feel incredibly comfortable on it. For those of you who don't remember the last match, that one did start a while ago. Nomad 6 is going to be your AR7 rating pick. It's pretty heavy on the overlap aim rating. You've got some tricky squares and some perfect stacks, and it really picks up in half during the second difficulty. I'd say the second half, the patterns get a little bit easier to read, but a little bit more challenging in terms of aim and a little bit more bursty, so something to watch out for. In this one, feels like it should be more or less a guaranteed pick for Australia. Between Poyuto and Supernai, even 47, also known as Steve, we're able to put up really good scores on this one, so this one should be heavily in favor of Australia. But you know, if by some miracle United States could find a point on this one, it's going to give them a big boost of confidence. And what I will say is United States really needs to win their early pinks. They need to get some confidence back after that last match.
And of course, one of the changes for this match is that the teams have switched sides. Australia now on the red side, on the left side of your screen. United States now the blue side on the right side of your screen. So no, they're not on the wrong sides of the screen. We have actually flipped sides here and going to be getting into Nomad 6. I like to call this a listening map. There's often, when you have a lot of these overlap and rhythm changes, there's just not a lot of spacing change. So we'll see how these players deal with it as the first pick once again in this match, Nomad 6.
Yeah, Australia starting it off the same way they did the first match, but we will see a slight differences coming in. Super Knife, first one to break. Australia will be on the back foot here for the first couple seconds of the map, but we'll see once it kicks in. The reading is when it gets really hard on this map. The ER7 is so hard, and Australia is just looking to abuse that straight out of the gate. USA though looking a little bit better at the start, no misses just yet, and they have a 25k score lead for now.
Yeah, we'll see whether they can hold on to it. We're not really into the tricky part of the map yet. Here we go into the first part coming up now. A lot of misses coming out, 3 of them for Australia, only 1 for the United States. All of a sudden, United States looking poised to take a break point here, but we've still got 2/3 of the map to go. Hardest section is at the ending, so a lot of pressure on these 3 full combos, but a lot of pressure on 47 especially. It's already Supernai and Puyuto getting worse scores than they did on their previous run through, and United States, they've got a chance here. They would love to capitalize on this one.
Yeah, and you gotta think right now, is this a low roll, or did Australia just kind of high roll in the last match? Because unfortunate breaks at the beginning for these 3 players, Puyuto, Fault, and Supernai. 47 still holding on, does not have the same type of accuracy that we see on Fault or Puyuto, but these 3 full combos on the side of the United States, we're at that 2/3 of the mark. The difficulty really ramps up here, and it's going to be really up to these. We see another break from Vleth that already broke, so that's not going to matter as much for the United States. It's almost 500,000 coming into the last quarter of the map. This is completely different than what we saw from the last match.
Yeah, Australia is not having the best time right now on their first pick. Jacoby does miss though, but is a 500k score lead for United States. There's another break from Fault, and it's a straight from Asa Tree, but it's not the FC on Hotbread, which is being matched by 47, but that's another break from Jacoby, and now Australia, I was gonna say, they were in the advantage, but 47 does break, and now it's Poiro against Hotbread, who is down 400 combo, and United States is looking to take the first break point of this second match.
And not only a break point, but that is Australia's protected pick. It was the other way around last match, Australia taking United States protected pick, and we all remember how that turned out. Australia went on to win the match in dominant fashion. Now, United States turning the tide of the match. They are not to be messed with. They will not go into the wind easily. They're certainly here to put up a fight, and Australia, they're going to be a little bit shaken by that one, guys. I mean, this was supposed to be their free point. One they won by 800, 900,000 last time around, but Hotbread pops off. Better supporting combos from Jacoby and Asa. And Australia, they're going to have to move forward with some caution here, as the United States, they have certainly reset the mental, and that, I think, is a much-needed confidence boost. And if you're the United States, I don't mind at all picking your own protected pick, trying to go up 2-0 and get yourself some momentum in this match.
Yeah, and it's United States' pick now. They have this Hard Rock 2 that they've newly protected. They went for their protect the last time they lost on the Nomad 6. Do they maybe save this now that they have a little bit of an advantage so that they can build on an even bigger lead that the next time their pick comes around? But we'll see. We'll see how they do. Really, I feel that was a more of an underperformance from Australia, getting getting 2.5 million and unfortunately downgrading to 2.1. Funny enough, they got 2.5 million the last time, and now United States are now sitting there with 2.5 million on the Nomad 6.
Moving on from that Nomad 6 though, we're going all the way up in the Nomad pool. It's the Nomad 1. More aim coming in. The USA, they lost this one by, I think, 4K, 5K earlier.
4K, yeah.
And now, yeah, they're taken to have some revenge on this Nomad 1. It's their first pick. See how comfortable they've gotten.
Yeah, and as a reminder, that loss by 4K was off the back of an incredible score from Supernai, putting up 800K. And when you look at the rest of the team, the United States had significantly better supporting combos. I mean, their lowest team score, 430K. Australia's second best score, 386K on Haley. So as a team, United States showed up, had the better performance. So a lot of pressure on Supernai here to match that 800K, or very likely give up a second point to the United States. Now, this map is, I'd say, a pretty standard Nomad 1 aim consistency pick. You know, you have a couple linear aim patterns, you have one or two squares, but nothing crazy. These are relatively comfortable patterns, I'd say, and so it's the kind of map where you expect players on both sides to be able to build up pretty big combos, and the end of this map isn't that much harder than the start, so plenty of time for comebacks in the end if you can recover your combo. I believe we've got same rosters for both teams. Last time for the US, it was Jachobi and White Phoenix with the best scores, so let's see if they can do it again, and let's see if they can make up that 4K difference.
Yeah, and a lot of the places where we saw a lot of these breaks as well was on these 9 or 13 note bursts. They're actually quite spaced out at 200 BPM, so we'll see if those end up catching anybody off guard as we get into Nomad 1. Nomad 1 alert! And of course it's a Miku song as we get into this. And here we go with Nomad 1. Same rosters as the last time this was played. We do have early break, but of course, being at over 3.5 minutes, there is lots of combo to build up here, so early break's not going to matter as much, and really key eye focused here. That's really where we're going to see a lot of the breaks here.
Early breaks not mattering too much, but it was the early part of the map where the United States was breaking a lot, and they had to recover at the end, which is why the score lead was so close. But there goes the two combos gone from Australia. All Blue and Poyuto from last match keep it in, but now they will break first for their team. Now it's 4-2 now for United States, in the lead by just a bit. It's 25K, and here comes the key eye. No one's breaking for United States yet, with actually an SS from Vletstel, and here comes the bigger jumps, the streams. Two people got caught off guard. All Blue and White Phoenix trade, but that favors United States as they keep their FC lead intact.
Yeah, this is kind of what we saw in the previous matchup. The United States came out to the early lead, they had the more consistent combos, and then it all fell apart towards the end as Supernai built up an absolutely crazy combo. Supernai still on that FC is going to feel really good for Australia, and Poyuto is on a nice recovery as well. So while this one is certainly slightly United States favored, they're going to feel pretty comfortable with a slight lead. The points are more impactful than most. You know, on a map like this, unless you have really big combos, it's hard to make up big score differences just because of how long the map is. But for now, United States is going to be enjoying their lead, and now it's just a matter of waiting for the next Ki. We're going to see whether these big combos can hold. It's going to be Chichobi missing for the US. That's going to be a big one. Australia is going to be able to bring this one back as long as they don't find any misses on their 3 big combos, but looking good for now.
Yeah, right now it's the supporting combos on Australia. There's the 2 FCs on Vleth and Hotbread, but these 3 full combos, or 2 full combos and recovery from Poyuto, these supporting scores are what Australia really needed to secure this map. And part of the reason why it was so close is because the supporting scores weren't there for Australia. There's another break from Poyuto. We'll see if it is traded on the side of the US. And there goes Vleth. That's one of the full combos down on the US. But Supernai and All Blue also finding breaks. It's very close, just around the 30,000 mark. White Phoenix It's just Hotbread and Haley. Look at the top center of your screen there. Those are the two combos that we're looking at getting into this last core of the map here.
Oh, it's close. They don't have that FC combo from Super Nai anymore, but they have Haley to come and step in, match Hotbread. It's now a quarter of the map left, and Poyito continues to break. Haley breaks as well, and now it's Hotbread unmatched in the last part of this map. United States is making this one work with the recoveries as well from all three of their supporting combos. White Phoenix, Chobi, and Vlet all on the recovery as Australia continues to break. United States make it work. They are now up 2-0. A complete flip of the script compared to that first match.
United States, they will not make the same mistake twice. What a score from Hotbread. I like the confidence from them. They said, yes, we lost it last time, but it was close. We low rolled. Hotbread is so confident, the nerves not affecting them whatsoever, and with Super Nai not able to repeat, it's going to be a point for the United States by a pretty big margin as well, 500k. This is the United States we expected to see on these aim picks, and I think getting a point as decisively as this one is going to give them a lot more confidence going forward to pick some of those other aim-focused maps, right? You look towards something like the Hidden One, a little scared because Australia is so good at the hiddens, but it is still that aim. You're looking towards things like the Hard Rock 1, the DT1, okay, is banned out, or the D1, yes, banned out, but then you also do have the Free Mod 1, which we didn't see in the last match, and potentially opening up a few more picks for the United States. We've got a very quick DT3 coming out from Australia, and this is one we didn't see picked in the last match, but one I thought we'd see Australia pick much earlier. They got 3.3 million team score on this map yesterday versus Philippines, largely off of the back of a FC from Poyito, getting I think 1.1 million points, which was very impressive, but interestingly enough, we didn't see Fault in for Australia on this DT3 yesterday, when Fault tends to be Australia's top tapping player, and so I'd expect to see Fault in for Australia today, and if that's the case, I could even see them improving their 3.3 million team score, assuming Poyito can put up a similar performance.
Yeah, we do see Fault in the lobby right now. We'll see if they stick around. Consolidated breakpoint for the United States, but Australia going back to their tapping bread and butter that they've been so good at for most of the tournament, and it's going to be Wishender coming in as well. We did see Wishender in the last match in on picks like the DT1 and the like, and we do see Natsume Shiki, that is Valine coming in as well for the side of the United States. The only map that we saw them in for was the DT1 at the end of the match, but it is going to be some DT players in for the United States. We also see Justin and Brian Thomas Jr. coming in on the side of United States. Super Nai staying in for the side of Australia. Poyito, Wishender, and Haley, their mechanics roster on the side of Australia, going to be locked in here for this DT3.
Oh, Toshime, Polka Dot Stingray. This song is so fast-paced, and with fast-paced songs comes volatility. This DT3, Australia might have gotten 3.2 million, but let's see if they can keep it up. Poyito having some trouble there with his internet, but we'll start it just in a second. Here we go.
Yeah, that is the question, right? Can they repeat that performance from yesterday? Because if not, the United States are a solid team on the DTs, certainly. They can keep up on a map like this, and this one, although it is tapping focus, has a ton of finger control with those really fast 248 BPM doubles and triples. The aim requirement on this map is actually pretty heavy as well, and that's something the US has excelled at, but so far it's been the tapping catching them out as Brian Thomas and Justin have found misses, traded back by Poyito, so already slightly worse looking for Australia, as Poyito is not going to be repeating the FC, but they do still have two FCs on Haley and Super Nai. Right now, they're being matched by Hotbread and Natsume, so this one is going to stay relatively even, though Brian really starting to struggle, and this is one of those maps where the accuracy can really make a difference, and it is a slight accuracy lead for Australia. All of their players being about 1 to 2% higher than their Australian counterparts. Let's see if United States can make up this 90,000 point deficit in the second half of the map.
It is growing for the side of the lead is growing for the side of Australia, but there's a break from Super Knight. There goes one of the FCs. Wishender breaks as well. It is traded by Hotbread and Brian Thomas Jr., but there goes Haley. That's the other FC. It's Natsubashiki and Justin right now on the side of the United States that are going to be holding on to these recovery and full combos right now, and it is coming back over slightly. There's a third of the map left. There goes the full combo on Natsubashiki. That's going to be very good for Australia, as Poyuto has that 675 combo right now. And a break from Justin. That's the other recovery. It's collapsed for the United States, and Australia looking to secure their first point of the match, as this is just going to keep growing in their favor. Maybe not the 3.2 million that we saw yesterday, but we'll see as we get into the end of the map here.
Yeah, despite losing out on about a million score here, they're still coming closer, but it's not a 3.2. But despite that, they are still up 400,000. Australia, the four-way recovery into this last part of the map, they keep it going, and it is almost a 500k lead against the United States. Australia takes their first point.
We have got a match on our hands here. United States had a chance to take that one and send this in a similar direction to what we saw in our previous match, but with Australia bringing it within one, they're only down by one break point, and they're certainly keeping themselves in this one. Mind you, the United States have the next pick, and does feel like they still have some good options. They can opt into, I'm curious if we do see them look at that Hard Rock 3. It's something that generally has looked good for them, but didn't in the last match. They lost it by 400k, and it's a question of whether they feel they low rolled it or if they're going to stray away from that map completely. They do have that Hard Rock 2 protected, and I do think you can save that for later. There's no need to pick it right now, and so maybe we see them go for something like the DT1 instead, which is another one of those maps that they have traditionally looked very, very strong on, but did end up losing by about 10,000 points in their last match. So I think the DT1, maybe even the Fremod 1 are both solid options for them, but we'll see what they opt into.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Free Mod 1 right now. It's a map that we didn't see in the last match. You wonder, with that big win on Nomad 1, it's going to be Nomad 4. This is another map that we saw in the last match. And of course, it was Australia that pulled out the victory on that one with a top score in the lobby by Poyuto, putting up 540k, only winning by 11k. It was so close. The USA actually holding the lead for a portion of the map, but at the end, Poyuto's combo brought Australia over the finish line with that one, winning it. And we'll see if, like the Nomad 1 that we saw earlier, maybe with that extra little bit of confidence with the mental reset, see if the United States is able to put up a big performance here on this Nomad 4.
Ooh, Nomad 4. This is honestly one of the harder maps in the pool. I think everyone can agree on that. It's aim control, slider tech, and on top of that, you gotta do that for, I think, almost 4 minutes, and you can just expect low scores on this one, then.
Yeah, it's a very spiky map as well, so it's all about who can survive those KI sections. And last time around, the two best players on this one were, unsurprisingly, Hotbread and Poyuto, so they had very similar scores. It was just ever so slightly better support for Australia, but certainly not by much. And so if either one of those players can improve their scores, they could absolutely be the carries, assuming that both teams have similar supporting scores. Everybody else was around 300 to 400k respectively. So we'll see if we can see an improvement for either team. Obviously, United States want to hold on to this one breakpoint lead as long as possible. Here we go, 0-7. United States trying to hold on to their lead.
Yeah, we see the same rosters as the last time. We haven't seen one thing that I'm always curious when we get into these bracket reset type of scenarios if we see any roster changes within the maps, but it's the same lineups so far, and I think that it really just comes down to how these players are going to handle this tricky slider aim map. Lots of rhythm focus as well here. So, and it's gonna come down to a lot of accuracy as well. With a lot of these tech maps, you have a lot of missed slider ends that in the end actually do matter a lot with the combo and with the accuracy. No early breaks to speak of so far. As we get into this first section, it's going to be Chikobi finding a big break early, as well as Vleth on the side of the United States. So Australia taking an early lead here.
Yeah, it's going to be all about whether or not United States can improve their scores from earlier, but it looks like at the start they haven't quite done so, but they still have 2 FCs to go. Hotbread and White Phoenix still on 400 combo, keeping up with Tree on Australia as All Blue breaks as a trade on that first Ki. Vlet and Chichobi trying to recover back, but will be behind just a bit. Australia, though, still 3 FCs to go, and Poyuto's accuracy is immaculate right now, 98, which I think is that higher than his previous one?
It certainly would be, but did finish that one off with a 98.28. We do expect that to drop a little bit, though, as this map only gets harder. It's a 3-way miss. Hotbread, Chichobi, and Poyuto, the only one to hold on to their combos. And we did see, at about the halfway mark, there was one combo that claimed pretty much the entire lobby, looking to do the same again, as everybody now has reset except for Chichobi. That's going to get United States right back into this one, but only 200 combo ahead of All Blue. We've got a bit of an easier section now. Before we get back into the next Ki, Chichobi is going to bring this score ever closer. I don't think it's going to be quite enough to flip the score lead just yet. He's going to need to hold on into the next Ki, but United States in a decent spot. It's going to be a nail biter.
Yeah, it's going to be about the accuracy in this section. We actually see another break from Hotbread. It is traded by Supernai, so that's going to be 2 recoveries down. Chichobi going to be gaining a lot of accuracy in this section, which is going to help a lot. There's actually another break from Vless, so this is going to stunt the combo growth and the score growth for the United States, and the score is actually going to go back a little bit to the side of Australia. It's sitting right around 50k right now. It's All Blue and Poyuto now with the bigger recoveries. The Poyuto being matched by White Phoenix. As I said, that White Phoenix is going to find a break. It's really All Blue and Chichobi right now, and it is going back in favor right now with Poyuto's bigger recovery on the side of Australia.
Oh, there goes 2 combos from Australia, though, and now it's United States in full combo lead as Chichobi still keeping on 1,000 combo. Chichobi, though, is 50,000. It's barely budging as there goes Chichobi's combo, and now Australia have to contest with only Hotbread. Supernai and Haley have the combos to keep this one in the bag, and this is looking like a break point from Australia, just like the previous match. Hotbread can't do this alone. He needs combo from his teammates, but that 70k story is going nowhere.
Yeah, Chichobi needed to hold on a little bit longer, and unless we see breaks from both Supernai and Haley into the ending, this one should be the break point that you mentioned. Mind you, United States did find the break point earlier in this match, so this will just even things up, and yes, does hurt the United States, but not going to be the end of the world. And another close one, slightly bigger. Supernai does find the miss, but I think it is going to be too little, too late, as Australia going to even things up 2-2. They have the next pick, and they still have a few options remaining. Personally, I'm looking towards, and actually I think lower scores from both teams on that one compared to their previous matches. They were both, actually no, both teams improved by about 200k. Just Australia with a bigger improvement. Now, Australia have some options. I think the Hidden 2 would look very good for them, is still open. It's one that they won by about 700,000. The Free Mod 3, another pick that they looked pretty dominant on, that kind of tech free mod with who was it, 47 taking the easy on that big multiplier. So I think one of those two likely to be the next pick, and it is going to be the Free Mod 3. So this map very tech heavy. The first half of the map is, I'd say, a lot easier before you get into a bit of a slider aim section. It's the second half of the map that is absolutely brutal with some tough slider tech. And so with Hard Rock, this map feels very fast with that high AR. But we've seen, I think, overmods for both teams on this last time around. We know 47 is going to be on the easy, but the United States have a lot of score to make up on this one. 500,000 if they want to win here.
Yeah, this is a classic map, of course, by the set by Neil Perry and this difficulty by Winber1. CS 2.4, so Hard Rock decently favorable on this map, although we did see, I believe, 2 hiddens on the side of the Australians. I'm really curious to see if we do see White Phoenix on Hidden Hard Rock again. Was the lowest score in the lobby that last time, so do they want to run that mod combination again to make sure that Hot Bread is in a more favorable position on the no mod to be more of that carry? But it didn't matter as much last time, and this, of course, being a very short map, under 2 minutes, early breaks are going to matter in this one, because you just need to get every single combo that you can find throughout this very short map.
Yeah, clocking in under 2 minutes. This free mod tree leaves no room for mistakes, man. And on the mods, that I assume it's still gonna be the same here. White Phoenix does come in. Yeah, that's the Hidden Hard Rock I'm expecting, and also the easy on Steve 47 there in the bottom left. Those two probably gonna be ones to watch out for any score improvements, because those two improving their score would be monumental for both teams. But we'll see if Australia can keep their consistent scores from the past few matches they've played this free mod tree. Here we go into the start of the map. Any mod outliers? No, it seems like we're keeping all of them.
Yeah, mods going to be the same here as expected. Keep an eye on Puito, who put up 700,000 on the previous attempt, and I think you really want to pay attention in the start of this map, because I'd say the first third of this map is by far the easiest section, and once you get past the halfway mark, the map is so hard to combo through. So if either team can build up any kind of score lead by the first half, they're going to be in a very, very good spot. Everybody looking good through the start of this map, but again, this section is incredibly easy. We're very quickly approaching the slider aim section, which we have seen claim a few combos. Most likely going to be the same here. That first aim section does claim a White Phoenix, is going to be the first miss. Now this aim slider section claims Brian as well. 2 full combos gone from the United States so far. None traded back for Australia. They've got 170,000 point lead going into the second half. Valeth is going to be the next miss. Australia off to the races here, as they've yet to miss. This ending so tricky, and the last FC falls for the United States. It is going to be traded back by 47, but has a massive multiplier on that easy combo. I believe the multiplier for this one 2.6, so 47 is going to have a lot of score. And I mean, this map has already fallen apart for the United States. Australia up by 600,000, and you're going to be taking this one.
Yeah, Super Knight and Haley did finally find breaks at the end there, but Hot Bread was the lone FC on the United States, also falling. And who else would it be right now other than Poyuto hitting the cut triples and coming into this last section? It's an immense improvement, still holding on to the FC into the end of the map. It's Poyuto going for Australia, going to look to be taking the lead in the match here, and it's not going to be the full combo, but Poyuto putting on the carry pants, winning by almost 1,000,000 points.
Poyuto slider breaking at the end there, but it doesn't matter because it is a 980,000 score lead for Australia. No FCs yet from Poyuto, but still an amazing performance so far.
Yeah, and this is where it starts to get tricky, right? United States have given up their breakpoint advantage, and while this one is still even, I think the pick situation is a lot harder for the United States than it is for Australia. Australia, having won so many maps last time around, they have kind of some pretty safe go-to picks. Next one after this being that Hidden 2 that they won by so much, whereas the United States had a lot of losses and a lot of maps that were incredibly close. For their last 2 maps, they've picked No Mod 1 and No Mod 4. They found a big improvement on the No Mod 1, couldn't quite close it out on the No Mod 4. The other map that was incredibly close between these two is that DT1. Now, that DT1 is still available if they want to pick it, but of course, they would need to see an improvement, and it would be a risk. The other option, Free Mod 2, the 1 point United States did win, but it was a breakpoint, Australia's, or one of Australia's picks, and so I think there might be a chance that Australia still picks it, as unlikely as it is. So I think you leave it open a little bit later, just on the off chance that Australia tries to pick it. They're finally going for their protected pick, and I think this is a good spot to use it, right? You are down, you're not down any break points, but you are down 1 point, and you don't want to give up another break point here, because then things start to look rough. So you just want to keep this match even, and we're going to see Hard Rock 2, this precision pick, and this precision pick is kind of, it's interesting. It's a rhythmic alt focus pick at 144 BPM, kind of 2 styles that we've not really seen yet. We've not seen precision picked, and we've not really seen any alt played in this match. So definitely, United States have heavy favorites on this one. It's their protect. It's a skill set Australia have not looked good on at all this tournament. But of course, we've seen anything can happen, and so it's far from a guarantee.
Yeah, there's a reason why Australia has been banning out, and just teams throughout this entire tournament have been double banning Hard Rock against the United States. It's because this is a skill set that United States is so good at. It's CS 6.9. They have Brian Thomas Jr., Hotbread. Those are really their 2 big Hard Rock precision carries. And we'll probably be seeing the likes of a White Phoenix as well coming in here, who we've been seeing taking Hard Rock, or actually mostly hidden Hard Rock on some of those on the free mods, and then Justin as well coming in. Usually been playing the DT, but actually hasn't been able to play a lot of the Hard Rock because it's just been banned against them. And so going to be making another appearance here, and we see Wishender coming in back for Australia, who we saw. This is actually the same roster that they had in for the DT3, so very interesting overlap there with Haley and Wishender supporting Poyuto and Supernai. Here we go, Hard Rock 2.
All right, we are seeing the same from Australia from that Philippines match yesterday. Poyuto, Haley, Wishender, and Supernai. They had a couple of lower scores on this Hard Rock 2, but it is to be expected. This map is so volatile, and we see a couple of breaks already. Hotbread, Brian Thomas Jr., Haley, Wishender being claimed by those customs at the start. Here comes some jumps and 2 breaks already to add to the United States' score lead. And now Australia will take the first few seconds with, actually it's United States with the accolade, and they will actually take that by 5k.
Yeah, it's a long enough map, and there's actually a decent amount of combo. So there's going to be plenty of time for comebacks, and this is the kind of map that you expect to see a lot of misses, right? The team score from Australia yesterday was 1.5 million, and so I expect to see similar scores from both teams. But the United States evidently feel they can beat that one. I think Hotbread and Brian are the 2 go-to Hard Rock players for the United States. Haley was Australia's best performer on this map last time around, so those are the players we want to keep an eye on, and so far United States have built themselves up a solid lead as Haley finds another miss, and right now it's only Poyuto and Supernai holding any combo, but neither of them on FCs. They've got about half the combo of those big combos on the US, who still have 3 combos strong. I mean, effectively 3 FCs in terms of score value, even though we did see a couple early misses.
And can we talk about Hotbread's accuracy for a second? It is, that is a 99. Well, now that I say it, of course, it's going to go down, but just looking so good on the accuracy. Gonna find a few 100s, but it is gonna be more breaks coming out on the side of Australia from Haley and Supernai. It is Brian Thomas Jr. Hotbread does actually find a break, but is matched by Haley. Justin is holding on to a large combo here, over 800. Poyuto just 100 behind right now. You really hope that Australia can find a few more of these recoveries, because it is very much in favor of the United States because of their early large combos.
Those two 800 combos for the United States now going down though. Justin and Brian Thomas Jr. break at the same time, but it's only Australia, or it's only Poyuto on Australia with any sort of combo, and this map is starting to run out. Hotbread has done a lot of damage already, matching and actually besting Haley's score from yesterday, and Haley herself is down about half of what she did last time, and now Australia is trying to overcome 350,000 with running out of time on this map. Super Knight breaks as well. Here comes the bus sider. Does anyone break on this? No, it doesn't seem like it. And now they see the scores. Poyuto is alone with 1,000 combo, 350k, and basically no help. Hotbread, White Phoenix, all they have to do is hold on to just a little bit more, and they take this Ardrock too.
Yeah, and it could theoretically go over if we see chain misses from the United States, but that miss from Poyuto is going to seal it. And the United States, really good pick from them. They're going to win this one pretty decisively in the end. Much better team score all around, and they're going to tie things up 3-3. We have got 3 picks left on either team, and we're getting to the point in the match where teams are running out of obvious picks. I think if you are Australia, you do still have the Hidden 2. That is kind of the last obvious pick. But after that, you're out of kind of free decisive picks. And I think similarly for the United States, that Hard Rock 2 may very well have been their last one. DT1, kind of the last pick that should be comfortable for them on paper, but going to be a bit less comfortable seeing as they didn't manage to win it in their last match. So my best guess, we're going to see Hidden 2 from Australia, we're going to see DT1 from the United States, and after that it's going to be anyone's game. It's going to be every pick will be a toss-up, and we'll see which team comes out on top.
Yeah, and in that last match we only saw 8 maps played in the last match. And with only one new map appearing on the protects and bans, that being the DT4, have still lots of this pool to discover. You wonder about Australia on a map like Nomad 7 as well, which is more on the reading side as well. But then on the flip side, I would say you wonder about the USA on that Fremont 1 being a more aim focused map. We are going to be seeing the Hidden 2 here coming out of Australia. This was another map that they were absolutely dominant on in the last match, being anchored by a 823k performance by Poyuto. You never know, this could maybe go the same route as the Nomad 6 and swing very much in favor of the USA, but I think that this is an even more secure skill set for Australia here.
It is kind of scary though, because Australia, it seems like for the past 2 times they've played this, they've been relying on Poyuto to put up a really high score, and it kind of backfired on them in their first match against the Philippines, where they lost that by about 200k. But earlier they did manage to improve that team score by quite a big margin, and they take that by 600k against the United States. So they're trying to do it the same here. So let's see if the United States now, seeing as how they've been doing well so far in the second match, see if they can also improve their own scores. I'm looking like Hotbread or Chichobi, Asatry, that entire 4-man on the United States to improve their scores.
Here they go, and while Australia did win by 600k last time around, as a reminder, they won the Nomad 6 last time around by 800,000 points, and in the end, didn't matter. So while I do feel with the Hidden, this is going to be more Australia favored, especially with a player like 47, Poyuto, and Super Knight all being incredibly comfortable on the Hidden. This match has shown us that no point is a guarantee. You have to play well. And you have to be consistent, because if you slip up even once, the other team is there, ready to capitalize. Meanwhile, United States, I think a lot of pressure on Hotbread for this one, but Not just Hotbread, Chichobi as well had a good score last time around, so going to be keeping an eye on those two. And this one is not so different from the Nomad 6 in that it is also an aim overlap reading map. However, this one is much heavier on the slider overlap rather than the pure kind of aim overlap. And then, of course, it has hidden and is AR8 rather than AR7. So definitely some differences, but the main test is going to be those overlaps. We've got some early misses coming out from both Supernai and Chichobi, as well as Hotbread. Those aren't going to be too impactful as this is a relatively long map. Fault is going to be the next to miss, so things are going to stay even out of the gate. And this map does really pick up in difficulty after the first quarter of the map, so that's when the misses are going to start to be a lot more impactful. But these early misses from Fault, Chain missing, sliding and starting. Here we go into the first really tricky section. Keep an eye on these FCs from both teams.
That's 2 FCs aside right now. The recovery is much more in favor of the side of Hotbread. We see another break from Fault, just not able to hold any type of combo here. But there goes Vleth. That's one of the full combos, but it's matched by Poyuto in 47. Steve gonna be finding the double break on the side of Australia. It's just Supernai right now with the recovery, and that is catastrophic for Australia. It's going way back in favor of the United States with this full combo right now from Asa 3, as well as the recoveries from Hotbread and Chichobi. Who could have seen this coming? These two maps, the Nomad 6 and the Hidden 2, look so secure for Australia in the last match, but they're collapsing here. I think this is just really an amazing performance on the second round go from the US.
Yeah, this is much more so what we expect from the United States. Hotbread on the FC with some support as well from his teammates. Not even support, it's basically a massive combo as well from Chichobi. A massive improvement from his previous score by about 100k now, and 600,000 in the lead of the United States. This Hidden 2 is not going in Australia's favor at all, and United States is looking to take the first breakpoint of this best of 7 second half.
Yeah, this is a role reversal, exact opposite of how this map went the last time we saw it. As you mentioned, a breakpoint here would be massive. This was supposed to be Australia's last secure pick, but Australia's reading has absolutely fallen off in this match. Hotbread is yet again, just like the last map, on very good accuracy, highest in the lobby by a decent margin. Fault is the only one who's close, and it is still it's not really within reach for Australia. This is definitely going to be a breakpoint off the back of an incredible score from Hotbread, but also just an overall improved team score. Asa improved, I think, by 200k. Chichobi improved by a solid 200k as well. And so everybody on this team really stepping up for the United States, and they are not going down without a fight. Hotbread especially has really stepped up in this bracket reset. Now they've got the pick. We'll see if they opt into that DT1. They would love to get themselves back to a 2-point lead again. Australia now down a breakpoint and going to have their chances later in this match, though. So they're not in the worst place, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking about that aim before. Do they go for a free mod 1? You also have that hidden one available. It is on the aim side. It is on the aim side that the US likes. And seeing Australia falter on the Hidden 2 a little bit, as well as the Nomad 6, could that be another avenue that they go down to that Hidden 1?
AIM has looked so good in the United States as well, so that Hidden 1 is looking spicy for them. Being said, DT1 is open, as well as the free mod 1, so there's more aim options for them to go into. But in terms of the best pick right now, I feel like it's the Hidden 1, because it's the least likely that Asia's able to play. What do you think, iFlame?
I would honestly disagree. I like this DT1 a lot more. I think Hidden 1 looks good in terms of skill set for the United States because, as you guys have mentioned, it is that aim, but Australia has been the kind of hidden team. Yes, they faltered on the Hidden 2, but I think it's early enough in the match still that we don't really need to pick this hidden one. It is certainly a risk that could be a United States pick later in this match, but for now, you've got the DT1. Yes, you lost it last time, but this is another one of those maps that was only lost by 11k points, and I think you just need to be confident that that was a low roll, and you need to go back to comfort, because the DT1 is a skill set the United States have been dominant on all tournament long, and you can't let one loss by 11k waver your confidence, right? This is an AR 10.3 map. I'd say it's a very standard DT1. You've got your speedy bursts, you've got your fast aim at the AR 10.3, and it's about 4 minutes long. And we've seen United States improve so many of their scores compared to the last match, and I expect them to do the same on the DT1. I said it last match, I'll say it again, I think this one is pretty United States favored. Even though it didn't work out for them last time, I like their confidence to pick it again.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a run back from Poyuto, who of course got 1.2 million in the last match, but yeah, it's gonna be the same. I know it's very unlikely, but it would be insane if we saw another insane score. Poyuto, it's going to be the same rosters coming out here. Tuaru also coming in for Australia for what I would assume to be the only map that they're going to be ending up playing in this match, as well as Wishender going to be coming in, as well as Haley. It's going to be Justin, Brian Thomas Jr., and Natsume Shiki going to be supporting Hotbread here. Justin has looked so good on these DT1 style maps. Of course, iFlame saying that Justin was the #1 scorer in the DT1 for finals, and did put up a solid 730k supporting Hotbread's 840. And we are getting into this 2014 timeless classic. Surely a lot of emotions to come out of this one.
Ooh, lots of early misses to come out as well. Justin, Tawaru, and Natsume Shiki, first ones to break. They need to adjust it at BPM, it seems like. But a pretty long map to go. Lots of time to build your combo back up. But with that, those misses still going on for Natsume Shiki. So I think it's scary, especially since he was the lowest scorer in the United States earlier. So he's going to have to put in some work to try to improve his score, very more importantly for this one, because this is their pick now. And there is 2 misses for us, Australia, that Tawaru and Wishender do continue to break. And now Poyuto as well, his high average on this map is now gone. And now it's Haley to contend with basically 3FC's Hotbread, Brian Thomas Jr., and Justin continue to take this lead.
It doesn't feel that bad, but it is kind of devastating for Australia. Last time we saw this map, United States had significantly better scores as a team. It was just the full combo from Poyuto that put them over the edge. Now, everything is on Haley. Hotbread does find the miss, so that is going to stem the bleeding for Australia, but with Brian Thomas and Justin still going strong, 2 incredibly good aim players, Australia are going to be worried, and going into the break, they know it. Poyuto knows that they are going to be in trouble now, and Haley potentially going to be feeling the nerves. It is going to be a miss from Brian Thomas. That's going to be an impactful one. Justin as well. All of a sudden, Haley has a chance to win this one, but no, Haley drops, and it's only 30,000 points. This one could still go either way. Combo is slightly in favor of the US, but with 2 more misses from Justin and Brian, Australia are keeping themselves in this one. Now, it's going to be Tawaru who finds the miss. We've got another Ki coming up, and with the map this close, every single miss is impactful. Here we go into one of the last Ki's.
Yeah, it's 50,000 in favor of the United States right now. Natsume Shiki Hotbread holding over 400 combo. It's just Wishender right now. And also Natsume Shiki actually going to be finding a break that's going to stop the score growth for the side of the United States. It is coming back very slowly. It's going to be Haley with another break that's going to put a dent into the score lead. And you gotta think that the United States just need to be consistent in this last quarter of the map. There's going to be one more break right here, and they're going to see the scores. Wishender has to hold.
It's the new player for Australia, Wishender. The one with a combo contesting against Hotbread and Brian Thomas Jr. Australia, it's 60k, and they want to take this one. One more Ki to go. Here we go. Let's see if the combos hold. Hotbread and Brian Thomas Jr. looking good, but there's Brian Thomas Jr. gone. It's a trade from Haley, and now it's now anyone's game. Tawaru Poyuto, Wish, and they're all whole, but this is double break from Australia, and now it's the recoveries from the United States that are gonna make the difference here. They're keeping the score intact, about 60k, and it's Wish and the new player continuing to hold along with Poyuto, but there goes Justin, and now it's 1 to 2, 900 combo on Hot Bread, 900 Wish Ender as well. Poyuto, they're both bringing it back, but there goes Wish Ender! Poyuto is now being matched. Hot Bread, the one to hold for the United States, has come online, and they take this DT1 by 80,000 points.
What a score from Hot Bread. That has been 3 maps in a row now where Hot Bread has stepped up to the plate, put up the big combo when it matters, putting the United States on their back. This is the carry that the United States have known all tournament long. This is why the United States are that #1 seed, and this is what they were missing in their previous match. Hot Bread on fire right now, and now United States up 5-3. Australia do have the pick, but this is where both teams have a much harder time finding picks. There are picks for Australia, but I feel they're a lot less clear. There are some interesting options. Hidden One, I generally don't think is a good pick for them. The tapping picks are mostly gone. Is that No Mod 5 still available? I think that was banned out, wasn't it? Yeah, that was banned out by the United States, and so they've got no tapping left in the pool. They've got no reading left in the pool. The free mods are scary because they've been dominant on the free mods, but they lost the free mod 2 by about 200,000 last match. I do still think that's not a bad option for them if they want to go back to the free mod 2. It's something they generally do look good on, maybe just low rolled. Outside of that, I'm curious what you guys think about something like the No Mod 7.
Ooh, No Mod 2!
Forget about the No Mod 7. We've got No Mod 2 instead. This is a map that was played by Australia against the Philippines. They got 1.8 million on it, but it was not picked in our last match. So the United States potential scores on this one are it's a guessing game. But this is still tapping. This should still favor Australia, and admittedly, I forgot about this pick, and now that they've picked it, I am a big fan for them. I think they have had the stronger tapping roster, and looking to continue that here. Now, this No Mod 2, I mean, first of all, absolute banger, but 196 BPM, so a lot more manageable for the US compared to some of those really fast tapping picks. And it's a lot heavier on the aim control rather than raw stamina. It's not actually too stamina intensive in my opinion. It really is that focused on the aim control. And this is a map that gets harder and harder as the map goes on. So you're going to want to see Australia build up their advantage for the first half of the map because it's tough, although on this map, not impossible to make a comeback in the end.
Yeah, and this is also one of the shorter maps in the pool as well. 2 minutes and 7 seconds. It will go by in a flash. And this being, as you said, 196. Also, very flow aim focus. As you said, gets harder as the map goes on. The spacing in the streams get so much bigger. And with nerves this far into bracket reset, there is no room for error, as we're going to be seeing Fault, who we've talked up being one of the top tapping players on the side of Australia, going to be coming in here for the No Mod 2, as well as Haley, and those two carries of Supernai and Poyuto on the side of the United States. Hot Bread has looked so good. And hopefully going to be putting up another carry performance here on this No Mod 2, as well as Nasumeshiki Chichobi coming back in Vleth. And here we go into 196. Seni streams. Here we go.
I think we are actually seeing the first player substitution from the previous matches. Supernai coming in for this No Mod 2 instead of Tawaru. We'll see if he can improve that score compared to, I think, about 200k from Tawaru. And we'll see some early misses from Natsubichiki and Supernai to trade. And it will be Australia on the accuracy lead, 99 on all three of those members. Goodness gracious. But that's three-way miss from Australia. That is not what you want early on in this map. There's so little combo to hold on to. And the United States has 400 of them on 3 of their players.
Yeah, there's a lot more time to find misses though, and I want to keep an eye on Haley. Had such a good score on this last time it was played, did find the early miss, but still has time to recover. And there's a very tricky stream coming up. It claims Natsumi, claims Supernai. Everybody else holding strong for now. We need to see some of these big combos on the United States fall soon, or Australia could be facing a match point. Fault misses again, and United States are just not missing. Hotbread, Vleth, Chichobi finally finds the miss, but it's still 2 FCs to 1. Haley on the recovery, but no, Haley drops, and Poyuto has so much work to do. Now, there's a third of the map to go, 230,000 points. That is a more than comebackable for Australia, but we need to see misses from Hotbread and Vleth into this ending. It is a very, very tricky ending. We could see Poyuto pop off, but Australia, where is the support? It's Supernai on 400, and that's about it. Hotbread, Vleth are just not missing. What can Australia do here, Juno?
They're gonna keep going. Hotbread and Vleth. Hotbread is so good. And there goes Poyuto. Hotbread's gonna follow it up, but Vleth now going to be going into the final eighth of this No Mod 2 and gonna be wiggling the cursor, drawing the circles, flowing the aim, and it's gonna be into the final streams of the map. Vleth gonna be with this amazing full combo coming out of Vleth at such a crucial time for the United States. They go up to match point now, and it's gonna be the United States flipping the script. They lost the last match 7-1, but now they're saying we're the ones on match point. We're gonna be in the driver's seat here. We on our own pick.
What a score. My God.
Cool. Now a time comes. United States, they are on match point, and it's their pick. It's their choice. They can do whatever they want, whatever's left on this pool. There's not much, but what are we looking towards here?
I mean, it feels like the United States are out of obvious picks. There are certainly picks that would favor them slightly, but it is tricky because there's far from anything guaranteed, right? The two maps that favor their skill set, the AIM, are Hidden 1 and Free Mod 1. Those are the two kind of AIM maps remaining. And both of those maps play into the mod advantage of Australia. Definitely the better hidden team, and have consistently been the better free mod team throughout this tournament. The thing to keep in mind about free mod 1 is that it does have a 2.2 multiplier on the easy, and because it is an aim map, it is incredibly hard to read on easy, but the aim itself is actually not so difficult. So if you take and on top of that, it's one of the easiest maps in the pool. They're going to go for No Mod 3. I like this pick a lot better for them than either of those, and this is going to be alts. Now, I will say, this is the first time we've seen alt picked on this match outside of the Hard Rock 2, but I don't know if you really count the Hard Rock 2 because it's CS 6.9 precision. This is 155 BPM. This is very heavy on the flow aim, but it does have a fair bit of slider tech mixed in. The slider tech is something that has favored Australia, but I think the much more difficult section is that flow aim, and so that's going to be a big test. Now, notably, I imagine last week's No Mod 3 was a lot different than this week. I don't know if either of you guys can confirm, but the United States did have the top score on No Mod 3 last week, with Justin putting up a really impressive 700k score. Australia played No Mod 3 as well last week and fell about 300,000 points behind. So I could see this one going either way, but I do think this is one of the best options the United States had remaining. Curious who we'll see for both teams. Obviously, you're going to see Hotbread, Vleth, most likely Justin and Chichobi. But for Australia, it's not entirely clear. You expect to see Poyuto and Supernai, who've been their top two performers so far. I think Haley has looked really good at this match, and probably all blue as the last one would be my guess, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, before we get into this map, which could potentially be the last map of the tournament, want to give a huge shout out to Redside for this custom song, and just amazing song here by Redside, and a map by Fairy, Nijika Ijichi, Tsumugi P, and Zero G. And so thank you to all those people I know I'm missing a few people who worked on the visuals and the video for this. I'm so sorry about that, but we're going to be getting into this custom Nomad 3 here, and this is the tournament here for the United States. They can win it all right here on this Nomad 3. Australia looking for another break point to get it even closer to that tiebreaker, but Farai, it all comes down to this for Australia.
Oh, last possible map. Possibly the last map, I mean, and the United States is looking good on this. They will have the first couple of few misses on the side of the map, though. This map is really hard. You have to be real consistent. And the sliders as well, you have to watch out. So it's like that Nomad 4. United States, like that one. They did lose Nomad 4, but this Nomad 3 has so much more aim control. So let's see how the aim control fares for all the players. First couple cut streams come out and no one breaks on them. A White Phoenix and Vlet, though, Ki starts and they do break. But there goes All Blue on the side of Australia, but it's only Hot Bread against Tree.
Yeah, Australia, with their backs against the wall, have found themselves an early advantage. That one's big. I was about to say Hot Bread has put up some solo carry performances recently, but finds the miss there, and it's been pretty much a full reset for the United States. That miss is going to be traded back by Haley and Puyuto. That's going to be big, and it is now Super Nye, the last one holding for Australia. They built themselves up a 200,000 point lead, which is actually pretty comfortable on a map like this, especially because there's no big combos on the United States, but it's far from a guarantee, and the United States have plenty of time to bring this one back. It's a question of how long can Super Nye hold, and if Super Nye can hit the next, I'd say 400-500 combo, can single-handedly put this one out of this, but I spoke too soon. Super Nye has found the miss. Pressure now on the recovery combos for both teams. This is anyone's game, but United States have their work cut out for them. Australia holding on for dear life with these combo on All Blue, Haley, and Puyuto.
Yeah, they built up quite a good cushion here, just over 280,000. Chichobi, the one with the biggest combo in the lobby on the side of the United States, but there are three big combos here on the side of Australia, Haley and Puyuto behind All Blue. There's a big chain miss actually from All Blue, but it's over 300,000 right now. And Hot Bread also finding a recovery. Super Nye does find a break, as well as White Phoenix and Vleth going to be trading that out. It's just Chichobi versus the recoveries from Haley and Puyuto. It's going to be still growing in favor of Australia, and going to be finding, I'm going to call this going to be finding a break point on this Nomad 3, and the United States, they gotta just take this. They say, okay, we didn't get it on the first try, but we need to just go and lock into the next map now. And it's gonna be Puyuto with this amazing combo into the ending of the map here.
What is that score from Payo? Zero miss on that Nomad tree. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Wait, that is insane there from Payo. He really showed up. Actually, his whole team showed up on that Nomad tree. 800 combo on Haley, 700 on Super Knight, and also a very good 6 miss from All Blue. The whole team just did not want to let that Nomad tree go, and now they go for the instant hidden tree alt map as well.
I love it. When you win the Nomad 3 by that much, you go right back to alts. Not only is it a second alt map, but I mean, I've mentioned enough times already that Australia has been such a good hidden team. I mean, yes, they faltered on that hidden 2, but you know, you got to stay confident in your own picks. This is one they've looked very good on so far. They've got such a strong hidden core between Puyuto, Super Nye, and even Haley. They've got so many confident hidden players, and now we've seen what Puyuto can do on alts. I think the United States is going to have a pretty tough time putting up a solid 4-man roster on this one. Now, we did see this one played by the Australia against the Philippines. They got 2.2 million, but it was, of course, Puyuto with 850k, which is an absurd score for a map like this. And, I mean, yet again, there's so much pressure on Puyuto to put up a big score, because we've seen time and time again, if Puyuto falters, then Hot Bread has been right there to take over, get a point for the United States. Australia cannot afford any more mistakes. They need absolute perfection for the last 2 point picks of this match if they want to make it a tiebreaker.
Yeah, and this is where you're gonna see the timers running longer, and you're gonna see these players really taking the time to settle and to get into these maps. We're gonna be seeing Haley, Fault, Supernai, and Poyuto. It's gonna be Hot Bread, Justin, Jacoby, and Vleth. These players have been in for so many maps. This has been such a close match, and Australia just needs to find the slightest bit of momentum. They got a break point on that. I forget what map even was just played. Nomad 3, right?
Nomad 3,
oh my gosh.
It's been a long night. Don't worry, Juno.
It's so crazy. But we're going to the prairies for this one, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling very at home in the prairies if I'm the United States, but not with the hidden modification on. That has been a specialty of Australia, and they're going to be getting into this quite short, 2 minutes 22. Early break coming out of Justin and Poyuto and Fault as well. So it's going to be an early lead on the side of the United States, actually, we're going to be seeing a lot of breaks coming out here early. 3 breaks on the side of Australia, but just the 2 responses on the side of the United States.
Yes, 2 for 2 right now. It's Justin Vleth against Fault and Poyuto that did break, but Haley does make the difference there. That 30k score is on the back of her break, but there goes Hot Bread. The carry for United States is gone. There goes Super Knight though, the only FC left from Australia, and now Chichobi against none now because Chichobi goes down, and now it's 2 under combo 3 from Australia. Haley, Fault, and Poyuto all building back up, and now it's 2 combos. Vleth, Justin to try hold on to this Nomad 3. There's a trade there from Haley and Chichobi, but there's the equalizer. Justin now, it will start to flip on the other side of this score lead, but Super Knight slows it down.
Yeah, good to see Poyuto recovering for Australia. It is the one player you desperately need to be holding a combo because that's the player you know has potential to put up a really good score. That miss from Vleth is going to hurt. This is not a long map. All these supporting combos are going to add up. Australia continue to find misses. Fault drops that big supporting combo. Now it is Poyuto trying to fend off Hot Bread and Chichobi. They're only up by 9,000 points, but there's a miss from Poyuto. It's a full reset for Australia. It's a mistake they could not afford, and the United States have a chance to close this one out right now. The score lead immediately jumps to 100,000. It's a miss from Vleth, but everybody else on recoveries. And guys, this very well could be the end of Australia's run unless we see an absolute meltdown from the US into the ending. Hot Bread does find the miss, but Justin, Chichobi still holding strong. There's just no recovery on Australia. And United States, it's going to be a return to glory as they are going to be your 5WC 2025 champions. Massive congratulations to them.
Yeah, these recoveries into the end of the map, they have broken now, but the United States once again proving why they're that number 1 seed, why they are so dominant in so many different skill sets, and it is the United States, the 5-digit World Cup champions.
Gotta give a lot of credit to this Australian roster as well. They're going to be coming out of this one feeling like they had a real shot at it, and I think they did, especially after bringing in 2 bracket resets. They've showed that they're good enough to compete, but just couldn't quite close it out in this one. A lot of close ones. And overall, it was a lot of good team performances by the United States, but it was, of course, Hot Bread stepping up on so many maps when they really needed it. Such a fun match all around, and this is still Australia's top placement by a fair margin. I think their previous best placement was in the 9th to 12th range. Now finishing second is absolutely massive, so it's going to sting for a little bit, but at the end of the day, once they've had a little bit of time for the hurt to wear off, I think they're going to be able to walk away with their heads held high, and they can be proud of what they've done in this tournament. Curious if we're going to be seeing the tiebreaker show match. It is a very cool custom, but after a full match, going to bracket reset, then going 7-4, if the players are too tired to play a full tiebreaker afterwards, that is completely understandable. So we will find out momentarily, but while waiting for that, I wanted to give a huge thank you to Daku for streaming this one, Juno and Lefachai for joining me in the commentator booth. I've been iFlame, and of course, a massive shout out to our host Lumen Logic and our admins Akwi and Lupa. Those three put in so much work behind the scenes to make this tournament run, and we've got now Lumen Logic joining us to say some words.
Hey, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I kind of did that one backwards, but yeah, I hope everyone's having a great weekend, and I hope everyone enjoyed watching that match. Regardless if you were neutral, looking for Australia to take it, or happy the United States just won. I just hope everyone had a huge blast with this tourney. I know I did, I know a lot of our staff did. I'm not going to take up much of everyone's time with this one because, as I mentioned actually in the staff show match earlier, I feel like a lot of these tourneys really boil down to the amount of, overall effort that we managed to get out of them and support for the players and spectators watching. It just comes down at the end of the day to how dedicated all of our staff are to really hop in and just help out and give everyone a great experience. So huge thanks to everyone. I would be yapping for literally a full hour if I went into depth on the last 3 or 4 months. So just huge general thank you to really all of our staff. Special thanks to several people really. Here's one of them right now pushing me off the screen for the real host of this tourney, Akwi.
Oh, my beat.
No, it's all good, man.
Akwi, would you like to say a few words?
Right now, or after
introduce this tiebreaker to us. Final call. That's the banger. Tell us about this. What went into this tiebreaker? Because it's a really cool custom.
Yeah, this custom pretty fucking sick. I'm gonna be real. Okay.
Someone that can explain the tiebreaker, actually.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect timing, Gordon. One of the mappers.
Oh wait, Gordon here. I was gonna say, map by Gordon, and then Kyrie, and then Box, and then Super Heavy. Hit sounds by Kyrie. All that good shit. Exclamation mark Naiku for other shit.
For real.
Hey Gordon, tell us about this tiebreaker. What kind of what can we expect from this banger? It's on you now.
Speed tech. Honestly, just speed tech.
Okay, I'm gonna have to disagree. There's a lot more to it than speed tech. This map tests a bit of everything. I mean, primarily, definitely speed tech, but it has pretty heavy aim control. Not aim. It does have some aim control sections, but has some aim tech, has some aim tech, has some slider tech, has some aim control tech as well. So, it tests a little bit of everything, and it's a very, very cool map. So shout out to all the mappers that worked on it. And here we go. Get to see the tiebreaker with 7 people in the commentary booth? Why not? Wait,
so easy. Let's
crazy.
go.
That's no way.
So cool.
That is not playable on easy.
No, I just want to say a few things. I just want to show. I just want to say how much I am in awe of all these players. I think this just shows of how much the 5-digit scene has grown over the past couple of years to see these low 7-star pools and players finding FCs on some of these maps in the grand finals. I think it just shows that there's such a bright future in this rank range, and that that there's some amazing talents coming up in this scene. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, I think the United States are a team that have always been dominant, right? Just because of how big the player base is. They're a country that has always had so much talent, and so in any of the World Cups, whether it be, OWC 3, 4, or 5WC, they've always been able to put up a strong roster. But it's especially exciting for Australia, who have just last year managed to get themselves a top 3 in OWC And it's easy to see why when they just have so much up-and-coming talent. This is Australia's best placement now in 5WC. And with so much up-and-coming talent, I think Australia is going to be certainly one of our top teams on the world stage for years to come. So it's a really exciting development for Australia, who I think perennially before last year have been kind of one of those perennial top 12 teams, but have had a pretty tough time breaking through outside of that. And maybe this is their chance. So really going to be an exciting few years for any Australian fans out there.
It does really help when the #1 player in the world is from your country and gives yourself that extra sense of motivation, I would think.
Yeah, I'm sure seeing a player from your own country be so dominant has inspired a lot of Australian players to play the game that wouldn't have picked it up otherwise, and not only play the game, but participate in tournaments, right? Because it's two different things. I mean, a lot of countries are very good in solo, but just can't quite put it together in tournaments because they're two very different skills. And MREC has been dominant in tournaments, dominant in solo, and so Australia has a lot to be excited about. Meanwhile, though, I mean, Wizender is a very impressive combo on this tiebreaker. Everybody else doing more as expected. I'm amazed that Poyuto is able to kind of play the map on easy.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still alive, honestly. His eyes must be hurting at this point, but he's still keeping up, I think that's a B rank still. And Australia actually played this against the Philippines for fun yesterday, and they had a bunch of 300k scores. So, and they're looking to do the same, it seems like.
Yeah, and as we get, we got about a quarter of the TV to go, I also wanted to give a huge thank you to all of the viewers. Your support makes these tournaments possible as well. It's so much more interesting and more enjoyable, both for the staff and for the players, to see so many people watching, so many people showing support for their teams, and just enjoying the tournament. It makes it feel so much more rewarding when, I imagine for Lumen and Aquid, when you put so much time into organizing something, and to see it really pay off like this and to see so many people enjoying it, it's just a great feeling. So a huge thank you to all the viewers who have showed up and joined us, not just for this match, but throughout the entirety of the tournament. And we appreciate you guys, and we hope to see you guys joining us back for the next edition of 5WC.
I certainly echo all of iFlame's comments just now. And additionally, as some a tidbit history on United States. So for anyone as seasoned in the tourney scene as myself and some other older gen individuals, last time United States managed to win the 5-digit scene was 5-digit Autumn Cup way back in the fall of 2019. So while you might see United States, for anyone less familiar with the 5-digit scene, as a powerhouse outside of 5-digit other game modes, this is really their first time at the top in a lot of years actually. So this is still probably quite a surprise to a lot of people, despite their dominance in other situations across the game.
Well said. Yeah, this is certainly a return to form for the United States, right? They're a team that has always been competitive on these World Cup stages, but at least in 5WC recently, haven't quite been able to reach that top spot. I think it was 3rd place last year. I imagine they've had some other close calls, but it always feels good to finally get back to that first. And that is our tiebreaker. Another shout out to all of those mappers. I think it's !mappers in chat if you're curious. But with that, I think that is going to do it for us. So as a reminder of our top 3, Philippines in 3rd, well played to them. Australia taking us to bracket reset, but falling just short. They are going to secure 2nd, and a performance they should be proud of. And United States, for the first time in a long time, they're going to be getting 1st place. A huge congratulations to all 8 of these players. Fred, Valeth, White Phoenix, Asa, Justin, Chichobi, Natsume, and Brian. They all played a crucial role. Last but not least, thank you all for watching. That's going to do it for us, and we will see you guys next year. Have a good night, good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are.